Lin Yuan, it's time to pay this month's rent. I know. Give me a couple more days, sister-in-law. Lin Yuan hung up the phone, plopped down onto the creaky old office chair, and scratched his greasy hair. And more debt collectors. The landlord, the material suppliers, and a few brothers who had lent him money. Their calls came one after another like death warrants. His Abyss recycling station sounded impressive, but it was nothing more than a half-dead mess. Located on the outskirts of the city, the lot was spacious, but business had been terrible for 2 years. The prices of scrap iron and steel kept falling, sales couldn't keep up with purchases, and the capital chain was stretched to its breaking point. Damn it, I never should have listened to those bastards. They said environmental protection was the trend, and that scrap dealing could make a fortune. Lin Yuan spat, fished out his last crumpled pack of cigarettes, and fumbled for a single one. He lit the cigarette, took a deep drag, and the spicy smoke made him cough. Through the haze, he stared at the mountainous pile of scrap, bitterness filling his heart. His parents had passed away early, and he had no high education. Relying on sheer brute strength and a love for machinery, he had started this scrap yard, hoping to make something of himself. Instead, he had become a debt-burdened loser everyone avoided. If I don't find a way to get some money soon, he'll be living on air next month. He stubbed out his cigarette, stood up, and grabbed the plasma cutter he had used for years. No matter what, life had to go on, and the work had to be done. In the center of the yard lay a giant hunk brought back from a nearby demolition site. It was said to be the bottom of an abandoned factory's pressure vessel. Thick, tough, impossible for ordinary flame cutting. Only a plasma cutter would do. Buzz. The cutter whirred to life, blue-white arcs of electricity dancing at the nozzle's tip with a piercing hum. Lin Yuan put on his goggles, aimed at the thick steel plate, and began cutting. Sparks flew everywhere, and the acrid smell of molten metal filled the air. He had done this thousands of times. It was second nature. But just as the tip of the cutter sank deep into the steel core about to cut all the way through, something strange happened. Zzzt. A blinding light hundreds of times brighter than the cutting arc erupted from the incision. Lin Yuan's vision went white, and an indescribable, terrifying electric current surged through the cutter into his entire body. Holy sh. He only had time to curse 2 words before an invisible giant hammer slammed into him. His body stiffened, his brain roared, and in an instant all sensation was lost. After some unknown time, perhaps a second, perhaps a century, Lin Yuan's consciousness slowly awakened in a state of chaos. He felt as if he were floating in warm water, his body light and airy. The searing pain from the electric shock had vanished completely. Am I dead? His heart skipped a beat. Had he been electrocuted while cutting? Was it all over? What about all the debts? Would the landlord's wife tear down his scrapyard? Just as his mind was racing, an icy, emotionless, mechanical voice echoed directly in the depths of his mind. Detected compatible host mental fluctuations. Initiating binding. 10, 30, 70, 100. Deep Space Salvage System, binding successful. Welcome the Soul Salvager. Who's speaking? Lin Yuan jumped in fright, his consciousness shrank. Where was the voice coming from? It wasn't heard through his ears, it was ringing directly in his brain. This system is a relic of a higher dimensional civilization designed to retrieve lost technology from the dark reaches of the universe. The host can project consciousness onto a salvage drone and enter the cosmic graveyard for retrieval operations. A torrent of information flooded Lin Yuan's mind, leaving him momentarily stunned. Deep Space Salvage System. Cosmic Graveyard. Salvage Drone. What was all this? Was he hallucinating from the electric shock? Or had he actually encountered the legendary Golden Finger? As a scrapyard boss who occasionally dabbled in web novels, he knew exactly what a system meant. But could such a miracle really fall upon a down-on-his-luck guy like him? He tentatively thought, System. Can you hear me? Yes, host. The cold voice answered again. Lin Yuan's heart pounded wildly. It's real. This thing is real. He forced himself to calm down and started organizing the extra information flooding his mind. Soon a translucent blue holographic panel resembling a game interface unfolded in his vision. Deep Space Salvage System. Host Lin Yuan. Mental Strength 8, Average Human 5. Status Minor Mental Backlash, Initial Binding Overload. Salvage Drone Scavenger 1. Level LV1. Energy Reserve 100,100. Max Load 50 kilograms. Stealth Extremely Low. Functions Basic Grasp, Basic Scan. Upgrade Options Locked. Salvage Zone No. 1 Novice, Area Silent Star C. Zone Risk Low. Warning: any salvage activity may generate energy fluctuations, attracting unknown dangerous creatures, void devourers. Proceed with caution and return promptly. Destruction of the drone will result in severe mental backlash for the host with risk of death. Lin Yuan gasped at the information on the panel. Good heavens, this was nothing more than a high-end version of Internet Claw Machine. Except instead of clawing dolls, you were clawing alien tech. And failing meant death. Void devourers. Just hearing the name sent a chill down his spine. But alongside the fear was an uncontrollable excitement and thrill. What was his situation now? Drowning in debt, nowhere to turn. Forget the risk of death. If things went on like this, the debt collectors would drive him to an early grave anyway. Now, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity lay before him. Lost technology from the cosmic graveyard. Even if he only retrieved a small chunk of special alloy that didn't exist on Earth, the value would be incalculable. Bold move when big. Risk it, turn a scrap yard into an arms factory. Let's do this. Lin Yuan's eyes turned resolute. He was tired of being poor, sick of the days being hounded for money. System, how do I start salvaging? He asked in his mind. The host need only concentrate and mentally command enter salvage. The first salvage will consume 10 energy points to open a subspace channel. Lin Yuan took a deep breath as if about to make a momentous decision and closed his eyes. Everything around him fell silent. He could hear the pounding of his own heart. Enter. Salvage. The next second, a powerful suction force came from deep within his consciousness, as if his soul was being ripped from his body. The world spun, and his vision abruptly changed. He was no longer standing in that familiar rust-scented. Instead, what replaced it was an indescribable utter darkness and deathly silence. This is space, but not the kind of space Lin Yuan had ever seen in any science documentary. No twinkling stars, no gentle nebulas. Only boundless pure darkness, as if even light cannot exist here. In this absolute silence, countless grotesque wrecks float. Some resemble a giant warship snapped in half, with solidified traces of molten metal at the fracture. Others are fragments of a magnificent city, collapsed towers and shattered domes. Farther away, an unimaginably huge biological skeleton hangs silently in the void like a dead deity. Lin Yuan's vision was the perspective of a small drone. He could see its two crude mechanical arms and a small claw for grabbing objects. This was Scavenger 1. He felt as if he had merged with the drone. With a thought, the drone slowly drifted. It felt strange, like playing a VR game with full immersion. So this is the cosmic graveyard. Lin Yuan was utterly awestruck by the sight. Every piece of floating debris represented a once glorious civilization. Now they were all just garbage in this dead starry sea. He maneuvered the drone carefully through the wrecks like a tiny ant entering a giant cemetery. On the system interface, energy reserves were dropping slowly but steadily. 99,100. 98,100. Energy is time. Lin Yuan understood immediately. He had to find something valuable and return before the energy ran out. But there was too much here, making him dizzy. Which should he choose? He saw a stone with faint, glowing runes, remnants of some magical civilization. He didn't dare touch it. Who knew what the runes did? Could be a curse. Then he spotted a damaged mechanical construct with complex pipelines inside. But it was too big, his small drone couldn't drag it. The load limit is only 50 kilograms. I need something small but impressive, Lin Yuan muttered as he flew the drone, scanning countless wrecks. His advantage was that he was a junk shop owner with a professional eye for materials. What metal was valuable, what structure was sturdy, he could judge roughly. Just then his gaze was drawn to a faint piece of dark metal in the distance. It was the wreck of a massive warship, its hull covered in terrifying claw marks and holes. At the edge of one breach, a half-meter square palm-thick armor plate was dangling. The armor plate had a peculiar color, a deep non-reflective black, with flowing wavy patterns on its surface. Crucially, around it, the vicious claw marks and explosion scars stopped. Only this plate remained intact, without a single scratch. Good stuff. Lin Yuan's heart warmed instantly. If it could stay intact amid such battle damage, its strength was extraordinary. And its size was right, it should be within the 50 kilograms load limit. This was it. He immediately maneuvered Scavenger 1 toward the plate. As he closed in, he saw more clearly. The warship wreck was as huge as a mountain, and the armor plate he coveted was like a fingernail on a giant. The drone slowly approached, extending its tiny mechanical claw. Lin Yuan held his breath, concentration peaked. This was his first real treasure. He couldn't mess it up. Scanning. Target unknown, alloy armor fragment. Energy response low. Structural strength extremely high. Analysis suspected outer armor of a Oracle-class interstellar raider exhibiting energy absorption and structural self-adaptation properties. Seeing the scan result, Lin Yuan's heartbeat quickened. Oracle-class interstellar raider. Even the name sounded imposing. This was it. With a thought, the mechanical claw firmly gripped the edge of the plate. Beginning extraction. Warning. Extraction will generate energy fluctuations that may attract unknown threats. The system prompt popped up again. Lin Yuan's heart tightened, but the arrow had left the string. Hurry, hurry. The drone's engines roared at full power. The claw locked onto the plate, pulling outward with force. Creak. A faint metallic grinding sound echoed through the dead silence, unusually conspicuous. The armor plate was gradually being pried away from the wreck. At that moment, out of the corner of his eye, Lin Yuan noticed something stirring in the deep darkness afar. It wasn't an illusion. An indescribable terror, as if being stared at by an apex predator, seized his soul. He felt his back, drenched in cold sweat instantly. He jerked the drone's view toward that direction. Far in the deep darkness, a patch of even deeper, purer nothingness was slowly writhing. It had no fixed shape like a living, ever-changing shadow. It had no eyes, but Lin Yuan could clearly feel that he was being seen. A shiver from the depths of his soul made him want to abandon the mission and flee immediately. Void Eater. The name exploded in his mind. Warning. Detected high-intensity spatial distortion. Void Eater has been attracted. Threat level lethal. Advise immediate mission abort and initiate emergency return. The system interface flashed red warnings, emitting piercing alarms. Lin Yuan's scalp felt numb. He glanced at the armor plate already half pulled out, then at the shadow, accelerating toward him, gritted his teeth, and hardened his heart. Fortune favors the bold. Come on, damn it. He roared, pouring all his mental energy into the drone's control. Clang. With a crisp sound, the black armor plate finally broke free and floated in space. Hold tight. Lin Yuan immediately commanded the claw to secure the plate while turning the drone to flee. But it was too late. The Void Eater's movement speed was unimaginable. A moment ago it was far away, but in the blink of an eye it had closed more than half the distance. Wherever it passed, giant warship wrecks, metal or rock, silently vanished into its body as if erased by a rubber. No explosion, no sound. Just pure conceptual devouring. Lin Yuan was terrified out of his wits. If caught, his soul would be eaten as a snack. Return. Return immediately. He screamed at the system. Return procedure initiating. Requires 3 seconds for spatial positioning. 3. The shadow was now at arm's reach. Lin Yuan could even see its interior, twisting as if formed by countless agonized faces. 2. An irresistible suction came from behind. The drone's speed began to drop uncontrollably, as if being dragged into that void. Energy reserves plummeted. 40,100. 30,100. 20,100. Come on. Lin Yuan felt his soul burning. 1. Return successful. In the instant before the drone was devoured by the shadow, a white light flashed, and Lin Yuan's vision was replaced by pure whiteness. Then a tearing pain exploded deep in his brain, as if countless steel needles were stabbing his nerves. Agonizing pain. An indescribable searing agony. Lin Yuan felt as if his skull were about to split open, stars dancing before his eyes, and a deafening roar filling his ears. He curled up on the ground, clutching his head with both hands as his body convulsed uncontrollably. Was this the backlash of the mind? It was excruciatingly painful. Moments ago, in the cosmic graveyard, his drone had been caught in the gravitational field of a void devourer. Though it escaped, the damage sustained was fully reflected onto his psyche. He felt as if someone had hammered his temples hundreds of times, a torment so intense he couldn't even scream. Cold sweat instantly soaked through his undershirt. He lay on the frigid concrete floor, gasping for air, feeling as if he might black out at any moment. Damn, I almost didn't make it back. He gritted his teeth, forcing himself to stay conscious. He knew that if he passed out now, he might never wake up. After several minutes, the tearing pain gradually receded, replaced by a dull, persistent ache like a blunt knife scraping against bone. Lin Yuan staggered to his feet, steadying himself against a pile of discarded tires. He felt as if he hadn't slept in 3 days and had just run a marathon, utterly drained both physically and mentally. He instinctively glanced at the system interface in his mind. Host Lin Yuan, mental strength 8 status, severe mental backlash, recovering salvage drone scavenger 1 status, severely damaged repair, requires 100 energy reserve 50, 100. Seeing this, Lin Yuan felt a wave of lingering fear. Only 5 energy points left. The drone was severely damaged. If he had been even a fraction of a second slower, the drone would have been destroyed, and he would likely be a brain-dead vegetable by now. This deal. The risk is way too damn high. Lin Yuan cursed, still shaken. Earlier, he had only thought about striking it rich. Now he truly understood the meaning of mortal danger in the system's warnings. That thing was no joke. The Void Devourer. It was the embodiment of a nightmare. He shook his groggy head, trying to banish the terrifying shadow from his mind, and then his gaze fell before him. Right where he had collapsed lay a half-meter square pitch-black metal plate. Its surface was smooth as a mirror, yet it reflected no light, as if it could absorb all surrounding illumination. The strange flowing patterns on it seemed even more mysterious under the light of the real world. Did I salvage it? Lin Yuan's breath quickened and his heart pounded uncontrollably. He stepped forward, carefully reached out, and touched the metal plate. It was icy to the touch, with an incredibly fine texture unlike any metal he knew. He knocked on it, producing a dull thud sound, indicating its immense density. He tried to lift it. Hey! Lin Yuan strained with all his might, barely managing to raise one corner. Damn, this heavy. He estimated it was only half a square meter and a palm's width thick. Normally, even a solid steel plate of that size would weigh at most over 100 pounds. But this thing felt like it weighed at least 300 pounds. The density was absurd. The system's scan results immediately surfaced in his mind. Unknown alloy armor fragment, structural strength extremely high, suspected to be outer armor of a Oracle-class interstellar rating ship. Lin Yuan's eyes grew brighter. He had struck it rich. This time he was truly going to be wealthy. He suppressed his inner ecstasy, forcing himself to calm down. Now was not the time for celebration. He needed to verify just how incredible this thing was. He looked around, his gaze falling on the plasma cutter lying on the ground. That was the top-tier tool in his scrapyard, an imported one that had cost him nearly 20,000. It could cut through 20-centimeter-thick special steel plates like butter. He didn't believe this thing could be tougher than his breath. Lin Yuan picked up the cutter and restarted it. Vroom. Blue-white electric arcs flared up again, carrying temperatures exceeding 10,000 degrees. He took a deep breath, put on his goggles, and aimed the cutter's nozzle at the edge of the black armor plate. Zzz. A piercing sound rang out as the high-temperature arc instantly struck the armor. However, what left Lin Yuan dumbfounded was that the plasma arc capable of melting steel vanished into the black armor plate, like a stone sinking into the sea, without even sparking. The armor's surface didn't even change color, remaining that deep, seemingly all-consuming black. How is that? Lin Yuan was stunned. He increased the power, maxing out the cutter's energy output. Buzz! The cutter emitted a strained roar as the arc at the nozzle grew thicker and more dazzling. He pressed the cutter firmly, continuously cutting at the same spot. 1 second, 2 seconds, 10 seconds. Bang! A dull thud sounded, not from the armor being cut, but from his plasma cutter, which had been overloaded for too long. Its internal components burned out, emitting a puff of black smoke as it completely gave out. The entire scrapyard fell silent. Lin Yuan stared blankly at the ruined cutter in his hand, then at the black armor plate lying intact on the ground, without even a hint of temperature change. He stepped forward and touched the spot where he had cut. It was ice cold, not even a trace of warmth. What the hell? Lin Yuan's mouth hung wide open as he forced out the words. His cutter worked by vaporizing metal with high-temperature plasma. Even steel, or Earth's most heat-resistant material, hafnium carbide HFC, with a melting point near 4,000 degrees Celsius, couldn't withstand it for long. But this pitch-black plate, blasted with over 10,000 degrees of heat for 10 seconds, didn't even get warm. This wasn't science fiction anymore, it was theology. Lin Yuan was completely dumbfounded. He stood frozen for a full half-minute, then like a madman rushed into his tool shed and hauled out everything he owned. A sledgehammer, hydraulic, shears, and oxyacetylene cutter, and angle grinder. Clang, clang, clang. He swung the 12-pound sledgehammer with all his strength, slamming it onto the armor plate. The hammer bounced back high, numbing his palm, while the armor plate didn't even show a white mark. Crack. He used all his strength to try and shear off a corner with the largest hydraulic shears. The shears blades shattered, but the armor remained unscathed. Whoosh. The blue flame of the oxyacetylene torch sprayed onto it again, vanishing without effect. Zzz. He switched to the hardest diamond grinding wheel on the angle grinder, which spun with sparks flying. But the wheel wore down, and not even a scratch appeared on the armor. After exhausting himself, for over half an hour, Lin Yuan collapsed to the ground like a dead dog. He stared at the black armor plate lying quietly there, his eyes filled with shock, ecstasy, and a hint of fear. He was now 100% certain. What he had brought back was something that completely surpassed Earth's current technology. This thing, not even the most advanced National Materials Lab could do anything with it for the time being, let alone his little scrapyard. As night fell, the junkyard on the outskirts of the city lay in silence, interrupted only by the faint chirping of unknown summer insects in the corner. Lin Yuan sat beside a black metal plate, smoking one cigarette after another. The ground was already littered with cigarette butts. His face, usually worn from the struggles of life, was now filled with a complex array of emotions. Excitement, exhilaration, fear, confusion, and a weight that was hard to articulate. He repeatedly caressed the cold metal plate, feeling its unimaginable texture. This object could no longer be described as merely hard. It was the very embodiment of absolute defense. Lin Yuan's mind was in disarray. He was a small-time individual whose greatest dream was to pay off his debts, run a small restaurant, and lead a stable life with a wife. But now he held something in his hands that could overturn the world. What should he do? The first thought was to sell it. How much could this thing be worth if it could be sold? 100 million, 1 billion, or even 10 billion. Lin Yuan was startled by his own thought. The most money he had ever seen was just a string of numbers on a bank loan contract. But the problem was, who would he sell it to? A wealthy individual or a big company in the country? Would they recognize its value? Even if they did, would they dare to take it? The origin of this thing was completely unexplainable. Selling it abroad, through the black market. As soon as this thought crossed his mind, Lin Yuan swiftly extinguished it. What a joke. Although he was poor and sometimes enjoyed taking small advantages, he still held on to a line in his heart. This thing was clearly a technological marvel beyond its time, a strategic treasure capable of altering the balance of national power. Selling it to foreigners would make him a traitor, wouldn't it? His ancestors had been poor farmers for 3 generations, so he couldn't bring himself to do such a thing. Moreover, did he even have the means and ability to make such a deal? He feared that before he could even sell the thing, he would vanish from the world. He understood the principle that a common man bears no guilt, but the crime of possessing something precious. So, should he keep it? Lin Yuan glanced at the black plate, and then at the dilapidated junkyard, letting out a bitter laugh. What would he keep it for? As a family heirloom. In his hands, this thing was worthless, serving only to take up space, and it felt like a ticking time bomb. What if it had some unknown radiation? What if it concealed an alien virus or a tracking device? He recalled the horrifying claw marks on the wreckage of a warship in the cosmic graveyard and the void devourer that had nearly cost him his life, sending a shiver down his spine. A civilization capable of using such armor was certainly not one to be trifled with. Its enemies were unimaginably terrifying existences. A scrap collector like him hiding such a thing at home would be like asking for death. What if one day aliens traced the signal back to him? Forget him, the entire Earth would be in peril. The more Lin Yuan thought about it, the more cold sweat trickled down his back. He realized that what he had retrieved was not a golden rice bowl, but a hot potato, a Pandora's box capable of ripping the sky apart. The value and danger of this object had far exceeded what he could handle. If he couldn't manage it, then who could? Lin Yuan's mind involuntarily conjured images of the mighty military from the news, the selfless scientists, and the fluttering 5-star red flag. After thinking it over, it seems that only the state can take on this treasure. He murmured to himself. Once this thought emerged, it could no longer be suppressed. Yes, only the state, only this strong, efficient, and trustworthy collective could research it, utilize it, and bear all the risks it might bring. Handing it over to the state would not only relieve him of this enormous trouble, but he might also receive a substantial reward. The bonus would surely be considerable, more than enough to resolve his current debt crisis. Moreover, this would be a significant contribution, and he would be recognized as someone who had made a special contribution to the country, allowing him to stand tall wherever he went. Most importantly, safety. Once he handed it over, he would transform from a hapless individual with guilt for possessing a treasure into an important person protected by the state. With the state backing him up, he could weather any storm. Thinking of this, Lin Yuan's confusion and fear vanished, and his thoughts became crystal clear. Yes, that's the plan. Hand it over. Once he made this decision, he felt a significant weight lift off his shoulders. But a new problem arose. How should he hand it over? Should he just call the police? Hello, is this the police? I found a piece of debris from an alien spaceship. Could you come collect it? Lin Yuan himself thought he would sound like a lunatic saying that it would be surprising if he wasn't treated as making a false report or being seized as a mental patient. Should he go to the local government? That would probably be similar. Even the security at the entrance wouldn't let him in. He needed a direct channel to contact a special department. A channel that could understand what he was saying and had the ability to handle this matter. Lin Yuan paced back and forth, desperately searching his memory. Suddenly, he recalled a person. A few years ago, shortly after he opened the junkyard, he had received a batch of discarded equipment retired from a military unit. The person who came for the handover was an old squad leader surnamed Li, who was very kind and took extra care of him as a young entrepreneur. The two got along well, and through repeated interactions they became familiar. One time, while drinking, the old squad leader, having had too much to drink, patted Lin Yuan on the shoulder and half-jokingly, half-seriously gave him a phone number. Shall Lin remember this number? This is a unit where one of our old comrades went after retiring, specifically dealing with matters that are not easy to disclose to the public. Just make sure not to call it casually or mention it to anyone. But if one day, if you encounter something that defies common sense, something outrageous, or even something that makes you feel like your worldview is collapsing, you can call this number. Remember, it has to be something of the level that the sky is falling for you to call. At the time, Lin Yuan thought the old squad leader was just drunk and bragging, so he saved the number in his phone under the note, Li's squad leader's awesome comrade, and he never thought of it again. Now that he thought about it, something of the level that the sky is falling. Lin Yuan looked at the black armor plate beneath him and muttered, "Isn't this exactly that level?" He immediately pulled out his old battered smartphone that he had used for several years, its screen bearing a few cracks. He opened the contacts and scrolled down for a long time before finally finding that note at the very bottom. He stared at the unfamiliar number, his heart racing uncontrollably. With this call, his life might never return to what it once was. He would be swept from being a small junkyard owner burdened by tens of thousands in debt into an unimaginable whirlpool at the highest levels of the state. Taking a deep breath, he felt an overwhelming sense of determination. If he couldn't go back, then he would move forward. It was better than being chased to death by debt collectors over a pile of scrap metal. He pressed the dial button. Beep, beep, beep. The dull and monotonous waiting tone from the phone felt like a heavy hammer striking at Lin Yuan's heart. The phone rang for a long time. Just as Lin Yuan was beginning to think no one would answer or that it was simply a disconnected number, the call connected. A woman's voice came through the receiver, steady, even a little cold, betraying no emotion whatsoever. The background was eerily quiet, nothing like a typical office. It felt more like a room with exceptional soundproofing. Lin Yuan's palm clutching the phone was slick with sweat. He cleared his throat, striving to keep his voice from betraying his nerves. "Hello, I am looking for someone. There's no one here for you to find, the voice replied, still flat. You have the wrong number. She seemed ready to hang. Hey, wait. Lin Yuan shouted, panicked. I didn't dial wrong. An old squad leader named Li gave me this number. He said if the sky were falling I should call this number. He blurted it all out in one breath. Silence fell on the other end. A deathly silence. After perhaps 10 or 15 seconds, just as Lin Yuan thought, she had hung up, the woman's voice returned. But this time her tone had shifted, laced with wariness and gravity. What's your name? Where are you? What is Squad Leader Li's full name? Which unit was he with? A barrage of questions followed. Lin Yuan steadied himself and answered, My name is Lin Yuan. I'm at the Yuanshan scrapyard on the outskirts. Squad Leader Li's full name is Li Jianguo. He was with the 7315 unit, but he should be retired now. He remembered these details clearly. Another silence from the other end. Lin Yuan could even hear the faint, rapid clicking of a keyboard. Clearly, she was verifying the information he had provided. This calmed him a little. It seemed he had dialed the right number. They were very professional. After another half-minute or so, the woman's voice returned. Mr. Lin Yuan, Comrade Li Jianguo is indeed one of our registered liaisons. Now please briefly describe what this sky is falling matter is. Her tone remained businesslike, but the address, Mr. Lin Yuan, indicated she was taking him seriously. Lin Yuan organized his thoughts. He knew how outlandish his next words would sound. He had to be concise or risk being dismissed as a madman. I came across something, he said, taking a deep breath. A metal plate about half a square meter. It's incredibly heavy, extremely dense. I tried a plasma cutter, hydraulic, shears, a sledgehammer. Every tool I have here. Not a single scratch. I suspect it's not from Earth. Even as he said the last few words, he felt a twinge of doubt. Silence descended on the other end once more. This silence was longer than any before. Lin Yuan waited anxiously, imagining the expression on the person's face as they heard his story. He was certain they must think he was delusional. Just as he was about to add more proof that he wasn't crazy, the voice spoke. Mr. Lin Yuan, please confirm. Are you currently in a safe location? Does this item exhibit any anomalies such as glowing, heating, emitting sounds, or radiation? The response was completely unexpected. No doubt, no mockery. Just a professional inquiry into the object's condition and his safety. Half the weight lifted from Lin Yuan's heart. They believed him. Or at least they were adopting a better safe than sorry. I'm safe, Lin Yuan answered quickly. This thing. It's quiet. No glow, no heat. Besides being absurdly hard, there's nothing unusual. Oh right, it absorbs heat. I hit it with a plasma torch at tens of thousands of degrees, and it didn't even get warm. Understood. The voice turned noticeably more solemn. Mr. Lin Yuan, from this moment on, stay where you are. Do not leave your scrapyard. Do not make contact with anyone. Do not discuss this with anyone. We will dispatch a team immediately. Until our personnel arrive, maintain a safe distance of at least 10 meters from the item. Do not touch it or conduct any further tests. Can you do that? Yes, I can. Lin Yuan agreed fervently. Good. Keep your line open. Our people will contact you shortly. Repeat, do not contact anyone. Do not leave your location. Understood. End call. She hung. Lin Yuan clutched the phone, exhaling deeply. His back was soaked with sweat. That brief call had stressed him more than a day-long argument with debt collectors. He glanced at the black metal slab on the floor, obediently retreated a dozen meters, and sat down on an old tire. He reached for a cigarette to calm his nerves, only to find the pack empty. Damn it. What a mess. He shook his head with a wry smile, but felt much more at ease. He didn't know who would come or what they would do. But he knew that from the moment he made that call, this matter was beyond his control. He, a mere scrapyard owner, had set in motion a vast, unimaginable state apparatus. And at that moment, thousands of miles away, deep within an unmarked building, the female operator who had spoken to Lin Yuan the moment the call ended shed her calm demeanor for an expression of utmost gravity. She swiftly typed a command on her console. Incident IDT 0973, reporter Lin Yuan, civilian-related person, Li Jianguo, retired, level 3 liaison, description, discovery of suspected non-terrestrial high-strength unknown alloy. Preliminary assessment, object stable, no immediate danger. Source credibility, medium-high. Action initiate, level 3 response protocol. Dispatch field team for verification. She clicked the submit button. Almost simultaneously, the information appeared on a screen in another room before a man in his 50s with graying hair and eyes as sharp as an eagle's. The man stared at the screen, his brow furrowing slightly. Non-terrestrial high-strength unknown alloy, he murmured, tapping his fingers rhythmically on the desk. A young secretary behind him asked quietly, Director, should we reject it? There have been too many similar false reports lately. The man shook his head, his gaze profound. No. A soldier from the 7315 unit wouldn't joke about this. And this Lin Yuan's description is very specific, plasma cutting, hydraulic shears. He mentioned concrete tests and results. This isn't a fantasy. He pondered for a few seconds, then gave a decisive order. Notify the Donghai City Action Team. Zhang Wei and Li Na will lead. Have them take the Prospector 3 portable analyzer. Tell them to make the trip. Yes, sir. The secretary immediately turned to relay the order. The man looked at the screen again at the unfamiliar name, Lin Yuan, and the address, Yuanshan Scrapyard, a complex expression flickering in his eyes. He muttered to himself, hopefully, it's just a false alarm. But if it's not? His gaze turned razor sharp. Then this world might really be about to change. The waiting time always feels exceptionally long. Lin Yuan sat on an old tire, his eyes occasionally glancing towards the entrance of the junkyard, feeling anxious. He wondered who would come. Would it be a uniformed police officer, a scientist in a white coat, or perhaps a mysterious figure in a black suit and sunglasses like in the movies? As time ticked away, the surrounding silence became terrifying. He could even hear his own heartbeat quickening due to nervousness. He felt a bit regretful. Had he sounded too fanciful on the phone? What if they arrive and discover he was bluffing? Would they think he was making a false report and arrest him? But the thought of that deep, dark metal plate gave him a little more confidence. That thing is real. It isn't just a figment of his imagination. Once they arrive and see it with their own eyes and test it themselves, they will surely believe him. About an hour passed. Just as Lin Yuan was about to doze off, a faint sound of a car engine came from afar, approaching closer. He perked up suddenly, standing and looking towards the entrance. A black, unmarked, ordinary sedan slowly pulled up to the junkyard. The headlights were not on high beam, but quietly illuminated a small area at the entrance, appearing very low-key. The car doors opened, and two people got out from the driver and passenger seats. A man and a woman, both dressed in very ordinary casual clothes. The man wore a dark jacket, and the woman was in a competent-looking sports outfit. They both looked quite young, around 27 or 28 years old. The man was of medium build with an unremarkable appearance, the kind that would be lost in a crowd. The woman had a simple ponytail, her eyes bright, exuding shrewdness and competence. Were they the mysterious people Lin Yuan had imagined? They looked like two ordinary community workers. Lin Yuan felt a bit doubtful. After getting out of the car, they did not immediately come in, but stood at the entrance, scanning the junkyard environment with vigilance. The man's hands were kept in his jacket pockets, seemingly ready to pull out something at any moment. Are you Mr. Lin Yuan? The man named Zhang Wei spoke, his voice steady. Yes, that's me, Lin Yuan quickly replied. We are from the Special Incident Response Center. Zhang Wei succinctly stated their identity while pulling out an ID from his pocket, waving it from a distance of several meters. We received your report and came to understand the situation. The Special Incident Response Center. That name sounded rather legitimate. Lin Yuan nodded and pointed to the center of the yard. The thing is right there. Zhang Wei and the woman named Li Na exchanged glances, then moved in one after the other. Their gait was peculiar, appearing relaxed yet maintaining a distance that allowed them to support each other at any time. As they approached Lin Yuan, they did not come too close. Li Na scanned Lin Yuan and then asked, Mr. Lin, were you coerced in any way? It's me. There was no coercion, Lin Yuan answered honestly. Very good. Zhang Wei nodded, his gaze moving past Lin Yuan to the black metal plate not far away. Is this the thing? Yes, that's it. The two stepped towards the metal plate, and Lin Yuan followed behind, wanting to explain, but was stopped by Li Na raising her hand. Mr. Lin, please stay where you are and do not approach. Lin Yuan had no choice but to halt. Zhang Wei approached the metal plate, crouched down, but did not touch it, only observing carefully. He took out a small device resembling a phone and scanned it over the metal plate. A string of green data lit up on the device's screen. No harmful radiation, no biological activity, no strong electromagnetic waves, Zhang Wei said in a low voice to Li Na beside him. Li Na nodded and took out a briefcase from her backpack and opened it. Lin Yuan stretched his neck to look inside and saw various precision instruments and tools that he couldn't comprehend. Li Na took out a gloved hand and gently scraped a nearly invisible powder from the metal plate, placing it into a test tube and adding a few drops of reagent. The liquid in the test tube showed no change. The composition cannot be identified. Li Na shook her head, her tone carrying a hint of confusion. Zhang Wei's expression also grew serious. They had dealt with many peculiar incidents, but encountering a substance whose components couldn't be completely analyzed by portable devices was a first. You mentioned on the phone that you tried to cut it. Zhang Wei turned to Lin Yuan. Yes, Lin Yuan pointed to the broken plasma cutter nearby. I used that one. Oh, it's imported and has a high power. It sprayed for a long time, but it had no response at all. The gun burned out on its own. He pointed to a pile of damaged tools nearby. There were also these hammers, hydraulic shears. Ew, I tried them all, but they were useless. Zhang Wei and Li Na exchanged glances, seeing a hint of gravity in each other's eyes. They had encountered those who exaggerated military situations to gain attention, and those who rambled incoherently due to mental instability, but meeting someone like Lin Yuan with both human and material evidence and a clear logic was a first for them. Especially upon seeing the obviously overburned plasma cutter and the damaged hydraulic shears, their doubts had diminished significantly. Zhang Wei pondered for a moment and said to Li Na, get the heavy-duty equipment. Li Na nodded and took out a tool from the briefcase that resembled a drill but had a more sci-fi appearance. This is the Piranha 7 portable ultrasonic drill with a drill head made of polycrystalline diamond composite materials specifically designed to deal with ultra-high strength unknown substances. Zhang Wei explained to Lin Yuan, his tone exuding confidence. This tool was standard equipment for their unit. Even the hardest materials on Earth could be drilled through. Lin Yuan put on protective goggles and started the drill. Buzz. The drill emitted a high-frequency, almost inaudible vibration sound with the drill head spinning rapidly. She aimed the drill head at a corner of the black metal plate and pressed down steadily. Sizzle! A jarring grinding noise erupted, even producing a series of tiny sparks. Zhang Wei and Li Na's eyes were fixed on the point where the drill head met the metal plate. 1 second, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. The drill speed began to noticeably decline, its sound growing increasingly labored. Suddenly, with a crisp snap, the high-speed spinning drill head, which was claimed to drill through anything, actually broke in half. The broken half of the drill head flew out spinning on the concrete ground. Meanwhile, the area on the black metal plate that had been drilled for so long only bore a shallow, almost negligible white. In that moment, the air seemed to freeze. The expressions on Zhang Wei and Li Na's faces transformed from professional confidence to sheer shock. The two stared dumbfounded at the white dot, and then at the drill that now only had half a head, unable to utter a single word for a long time. What kind of hardness is this? This was beyond any physical laws they knew. Zhang Wei swallowed hard, his throat bobbing. He suddenly turned around, pulling out an encrypted satellite phone from his pocket, quickly walking to the side, his voice showing noticeable fluctuations for the first time. Calling the center. Calling the center. This is Donghai 01. Repeat, this is Donghai 01. On-site confirmation, the physical characteristics of the target item are severely abnormal. Our portable equipment is ineffective. Repeat, the portable equipment is completely ineffective. Requesting support. Requesting support. I am applying to raise the incident level to level 2. No. Level 1. I am applying to elevate the incident level directly to a level 1 priority. After hanging up the phone, Zhang Wei strode back, his expression completely transformed. The previous calm and professional demeanor had vanished without a trace, replaced by an air of extreme gravity and solemnity intermingled with an unmistakable flicker of excitement. He looked at Lin Yuan with a gaze so complex that it sent a chill down Lin Yuan's spine. Mr. Lin Yuan, Zhang Wei said, his voice slightly hoarse this time. You might have really stirred up a hornet's nest. Lin Yuan forced a dry laugh. I am just a junk collector. How could I have that kind of ability? No. Li Na interjected, stepping forward, her eyes fixed on the black metal plate. You don't know what you've discovered. Our database contains records of thousands of special materials, including some unknown alloys extracted from meteorites, but none of them can match this level of strength. A glimmer of almost obsessive fascination flickered in her eyes, the expression of a researcher witnessing a miracle. The atmosphere in the scrapyard grew eerily strange. The three of them stood around the black metal plate, none speaking. Lin Yuan didn't know what to say, while Zhang Wei and Li Na were still processing the overwhelming impact of this astonishing discovery. So, what do we do now? Lin Yuan broke the silence in a low voice. Wait, Zhang Wei replied succinctly. Wait for our people to arrive. Mr. Lin, from now on, this place is under our control. Until our reinforcements get here, no one is allowed in or out. As he spoke, he pulled a small signal jamming device from his pocket and pressed the switch. Lin Yuan's phone instantly lost its signal. This is to prevent information leaks, Zhang Wei explained. Until we figure things out, everything concerning this metal plate is classified as top secret. Lin Yuan nodded, indicating his understanding. He now realized that these two were no ordinary community workers. The power behind them was immense. Time ticked by. About half an hour later, a low rumble echoed from the distant sky. Lin Yuan looked up to see several unmarked black helicopters speeding toward the scrapyard through the night sky. The helicopters flew without navigation lights, like phantoms in the darkness. They're here, Zhang Wei said in a deep voice. The helicopters hovered above the scrapyard, their massive rotors whipping up gales that sent scrap metal clattering. Then one helicopter descended slowly, and a dozen fully armed soldiers in black combat suits rappelled down. Their movements were highly professional. Upon landing, they immediately fanned out to secure key positions around the scrapyard, their dark muzzles trained warily on the surroundings. Next, a large transport helicopter landed, and from its cabin emerged several military green engineering vehicles and a massive container-like module. A group of people in white sterile protective suits resembling researchers clustered around an elderly man with graying hair as they hurried off the helicopter. Within minutes, the entire scrapyard had been transformed into a heavily fortified temporary military base. Lin Yuan's legs began to tremble at the sight. He had never seen so many real firearms in his life. This spectacle was even more extravagant than anything in the movies. He was starting to regret things. Had he made too big a deal out of this? Would his discovery cost the nation billions? Zhang Wei and Li Na quickly stepped forward and saluted the gray-haired old man. Academician Wang. The elderly man addressed as Academician Wang paid them no heed. The moment he stepped off the helicopter, his gaze was riveted on the black metal plate. He almost jogged over to it, his gloved hand repeatedly stroking the plate while he muttered incessantly. Unbelievable. This structure, this texture, it's a work of art. A miracle. He was like a man possessed beholding a peerless treasure, his eyes blazing with fervor. Quick, set up Dragon Fong. I want to see its limits. Academician Wang shouted over his shoulder to his assistants. Soon the researchers hauled out a strangely shaped device from a crate. The device looked like a small laser cannon, its muzzle aimed at the black metal plate. Dragon Fong Type 2 high-energy pulsed laser cutter, Zhang Wei murmured to Lin Yuan. The military lab's most powerful single-point destruction device. Its instantaneous power can reach megawatt levels, capable of vaporizing a meter-thick homogeneous steel armor in 1 second. Lin Yuan's heart pounded with terror. Megawatt levels. Vaporizing a meter of steel armor. Was this still a cutter? It was more like a planet-destroying cannon from a sci-fi movie. Everyone retreated to a safe distance, leaving only Academician Wang and a few core assistants to operate the device. Ready. Energy fully charged. 3, 2, 1, fire. At Academician Wang's command, a white beam brighter than the sun shot from the muzzle of Dragon Fong, striking the black metal plate with pinpoint accuracy. There was no sound, no explosion. Only an extreme, blinding whiteness. Lin Yuan felt his eyes searing and quickly shut them. The beam lasted only a single second before vanishing. When Lin Yuan opened his eyes again, everyone held their breath, staring intently at the metal plate. At the point of impact, a fist-sized, faintly glowing red area appeared. The red glow faded in an instant, returning to the original deep black. Academician Wang rushed over, pulling out a magnifying glass and various instruments to meticulously examine. After a few minutes, he straightened up, his face a complex mixture of ecstasy and frustration, and announced to those behind him. The surface molecular structure was damaged by 0.03 millimeters. No substantial damage caused. The energy was absorbed. Over 99.9 of it was absorbed and dissipated. The entire site fell into dead silence. Everyone was stunned, speechless by the result. The military lab's most powerful cutting tool at full force had only left a scratch 0.03 millimeters deep. What in the world was this plate made of? A monster. It's a monster. A young researcher murmured, lost in shock. Academician Wang took a deep breath. He turned his gaze, passing through the crowd and settling on Lin Yuan for the first time. His eyes no longer looked at a metal plate. They looked at a living, breathing miracle worker. That young man is the one who first discovered it, he asked Zhang Wei beside him. Yes, Academician Wang. His name is Lin Yuan, the owner of this scrapyard. Academician Wang nodded and strode toward Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan's heart raced with nervousness as he watched the nation's top scientist approach, unsure of where to put his hands. Academician Wang stopped before him, looked him over, and then with an unprecedented solemnity asked, "Young man, could you tell us in detail how you came to possess it?" Facing the personal inquiry of a nationally esteemed academician, Lin Yuan's palms were slick with nervous sweat. He was merely a scrap collector, utterly unaccustomed to such a grand scene. He swallowed hard, striving to steady his voice. Academician Wang. Academician Wang, no need to be nervous, comrade. Academician Wang's tone was gentle, perceiving Lin Yuan's unease. Just tell us exactly what you experienced from beginning to end. Don't leave out a single detail. Lin Yuan took a deep breath and nodded. At this point, concealing the so-called deep space salvage system was utterly pointless. The very existence of this metal plate defied common sense. Adding a system to the equation no longer seemed so difficult to accept. Moreover, he had a faint intuition that this system might be even more significant than the metal plate itself. He decided to tell the truth. Of course, for the overly fantastical aspects like his consciousness, projection, and soul leaving his body, he intended to describe them in a more comprehensible manner. It happened like this. Lin Yuan began his account. Around this afternoon, I was cutting a piece of scrap iron, and then, I don't know how, maybe an electric shock or something, but something suddenly appeared in my mind. Something. A recorder behind Academician Wang immediately perked up. Yes, something. Like a computer program or a game interface. Lin Yuan chose his words carefully. It called itself the Deep Space Salvage System. Deep Space Salvage System. Academician Wang's brow furrowed deeply. He had never heard of such a term. Yes. Lin Yuan pressed on, steeling himself. The system said it could let me control a drone to enter a place called the Cosmic Graveyard to salvage the remains of alien civilizations. As he finished speaking, the entire temporary command center fell into dead silence. Everyone stared at him as if he were insane. Cosmic Graveyard. Remains of alien civilizations. This sounded even more absurd than Pulp Fiction. Even Academician Wang, who had been amiable moments before, showed a flicker of doubt in his eyes. He was more inclined to believe it was a chance discovery of an unknown origin rather than some system or aliens. Comrade Lin Yuan. Zhang Wei whispered a warning from the side. Please be serious. This concerns national security. I'm telling the truth. Lin Yuan grew anxious. I know it sounds crazy, but that's how it is. I can demonstrate it for you. Demonstrate. Academician Wang was taken aback. How? The system said that if I concentrate I can enter that salvage interface again. Lin Yuan explained. But my drone was damaged during the last salvage. The system said it needs energy to repair, and I don't know how to get it. Hearing this, Academician Wang exchanged glances with the experts around him. Damaged. Needs energy to repair. Academician Wang seized on the key words. Energy. What kind of energy? I don't know. The system interface only showed that 100 energy points are needed, but it didn't say what the energy is. Lin Yuan looked utterly bewildered. Academician Wang fell into deep thought. A physicist behind him adjusted his glasses and murmured, Academician Wang, this sounds too absurd. It seems more like a hallucination born from psychological trauma. Perhaps he discovered this metal in some accident, and his mind fabricated the system story to explain something beyond his understanding. This explanation seemed plausible and immediately garnered agreement from many. However, Academician Wang shook his head. Pointing at the black metal plate on the ground, he said, a hallucination. Then how do you explain this thing? Its very existence is the greatest mockery of our current physics. Since we've already encountered matter we can't comprehend, why can't we accept a system we can't understand? He turned to Lin Yuan, his gaze intense. Comrade Lin, think carefully. Did the system ever hint at where the energy could be obtained? Lin Yuan furrowed his brow, straining to recall. Suddenly something came to him. Upgrade. That's right, there was a drone upgrade option on the system interface, grayed out with unlocked written on it. But there was a line of small text beside it saying that rare materials salvaged could be consumed to upgrade the drone. Rare materials. Academician Wang's eyes lit up sharply, and his gaze instantly fixed on the black metal plate. Could it be? A bold thought enough to make everyone's heart race simultaneously struck the minds of all the scientists present. Could the energy source and upgrade materials for this so-called system be the very junk it salvaged? It was a perfect closed loop. Academician Wang's breathing grew rapid. Quick, bring the portable energy. Set it to the highest sensitivity, he commanded loudly. A researcher hastily fetched a precision instrument and cautiously approached the black metal plate. On the instrument's screen, a steady baseline upon nearing the metal plate showed an extremely faint but unmistakable upward fluctuation. There's an energy reaction. Very weak, bound state energy. Its internal structure has locked in a massive amount of energy. The researcher operating the instrument had a trembling voice. Academician Wang snatched the instrument, examining the data himself, his hands trembling slightly with excitement. That's it. It's like a sealed battery, a super battery we can't even begin to understand. He whirled around, gazing at Lin Yuan as if he were a treasure. Comrade Lin, now immediately try to communicate with your system. Ask it if it can absorb the energy from this metal plate to repair your drone. Caught up in the tense atmosphere, Lin Yuan nodded, closed his eyes, and concentrated. System, are you there? He called out in his mind. The cold mechanical voice echoed again. Host, I am here. Great. Lin Yuan felt a surge of joy and quickly asked, my drone is damaged and needs 100 energy points to repair. This black slab, the one I salvaged, can its energy be used? Detecting high purity unknown alloy. Beginning energy structure analysis. Analysis complete. This substance contains high-density compressed energy absorbable by the system. Do you wish to absorb this substance and convert it into system energy? Warning, this substance is an extremely rare spacecraft structural material. Once converted to energy, the process is irreversible. Please choose carefully, host. Lin Yuan immediately opened his eyes and relayed the system's words to act. Upon hearing the information about absorbable and extremely rare spacecraft structural material, all the scientists present gasped in unison. It was confirmed. Everything Lin Yuan said was true. A system capable of salvaging alien technology really existed in this world, and Lin Yuan was the sole key. Academician Wang's face flushed with excitement. He grabbed Lin Yuan's shoulders, his voice trembling. Absorb. Let it absorb. We must witness this process firsthand. This is the most crucial step in human civilization. No, in the history of Earth's civilization. The surrounding scientists crowded around, their faces etched with fervor and anticipation. They were about to witness the moment myth became reality. Lin Yuan, looking at the nearly frenzied scientists, felt a shiver of unease. He closed his eyes again and issued a command to the system. System, absorb the energy from this metal plate. But don't drain it all. Leave me a little, okay? This thing looks pretty valuable. Command confirmed. Setting absorption threshold, retain 10 of the material's structural integrity. Beginning absorption. In the next moment, under the tense gaze of everyone, the black metal plate began to undergo an inconceivable transformation. The moment Lin Yuan issued the command, the black metal plate, lying silently on the ground, seemed to come alive. The flowing patterns on its surface began to emit a faint visible blue glow. The glow pulsed like a breath, dimming and brightening with a mysterious rhythm. Heavens! It's lit up, a young researcher exclaimed in shock. Quiet. Activate all recording equipment. Full spectrum monitoring. Academician Wang barked, his eyes fixed on the metal plate, afraid to miss a single detail. In the scrapyard, dozens of cameras and sensors of various models were all aimed at the glowing metal plate. Lin Yuan could sense an invisible energy being slowly extracted from the metal plate, flowing into the system, within his mind through a method he couldn't comprehend. On the system interface before him, the numbers under energy reserve began to surge rapidly. Energy reserve 50, 100, energy reserve 15100, energy reserve 35100, energy reserve 70100, energy reserve 100100. In just a few seconds, the energy was fully charged. But the absorption didn't stop. Energy reserve 150100, energy reserve 300100, energy reserve 500100. The numbers continued to skyrocket, quickly surpassing the 1,000 mark. Lin Yuan was dumbfounded. He had thought the energy in the plate would barely be enough to repair the drone, never expecting it to be such a superpower bank. Meanwhile, the scientists outside observed astonishing phenomena. Report. The target's energy density is dropping exponentially. Report. The target's mass is decreasing. This violates the law of conservation of mass. Its matter is vanishing into thin air. Report. Slight disturbances in spatial parameters. There's an energy transfer phenomenon we can't comprehend. Shocking reports came from various monitoring stations, converging on Academician Wang. Listening to these reports, Academician Wang clenched his fists tightly. Mass vanishing into nothing. Spatial disturbances. This was entirely beyond the scope of knowledge he had accumulated in his lifetime. This was a technology of a higher dimension, a technology bordering on the realm of gods. The absorption process lasted about a minute. When the energy reserve on the system interface finally settled at 2350100, the glow on the metal plate slowly faded, returning to its deep black color. However, it had noticeably shrunk in size. Originally half a meter square, the plate was now smaller than a wash basin, and its thickness had greatly diminished. Energy absorption complete. Drone Scavenger 1 initiating automatic repair. Repair progress 10. 50. 100. Repair complete. Detecting surplus energy. Proceed with drone upgrade. A series of system prompts echoed in Lin. It can be upgraded. Lin Yuan felt a surge of joy. He immediately relayed the news to Academician Wang. Upgrade. Upgrade immediately. Academician Wang said without hesitation. We need to see just how far this so-called system can grow. Lin Yuan nodded and mentally commanded the system, upgrade the drone. Please select an upgrade direction A. Engine enhances speed and maneuverability B. Stealth coating reduces probability of detection by void devourer C. Energy core increases energy capacity, extends salvage time D. Mechanical arm and payload enhances grip strength and payload limit. 4 options appeared before Lin Yuan. After a moment's thought, he chose B without hesitation. No matter how fast, it couldn't outrun that terrifying thing. No matter the payload, it was useless if he couldn't survive to enjoy the spoils. Survival was paramount. The shadow cast by that void devourer was too great. I chose B. Stealth, Lin Yuan told Academician Wang. Confirmed selection. Stealth coating upgrade. Energy consumed 500 points. Rare materials consumed none. This upgrade will analyze the structure of Oracle-class plunder ship armor to automatically generate a basic stealth coating. Upgrade initiated. Upgrade complete. Salvage drone Scavenger 1 level LV2 energy reserve 1850100. Increased payload limit 50 kilograms. Stealth low, slightly improved functions. Basic grasping, basic scanning. Lin Yuan was slightly surprised as he looked at the upgraded panel. The energy capacity had increased as well. Although not listed on the panel, he could sense that the drone's energy core had become more robust. He relayed the upgraded data to Academician Wang. After listening, Academician Wang paced back and forth excitedly. It can be upgraded. It truly can be upgraded. And it can even analyze the materials we provide, automatically performing technological conversion. Heavens! This is no longer a simple golden finger. This is the engine of a civilization. An accelerator of technology. The way he looked at Lin Yuan could no longer be described as seeing a treasure. It was like looking at a god, or rather a mortal who had grasped the divine scepter. Academician Wang, what do we do now? Zhang Wei asked in a low voice, his tone also trembling. The turn of events had completely exceeded the imagination of field operatives like them. This was no longer a simple special incident. It was a first contact, capable of altering the nation's destiny, even the course of human civilization. Academician Wang took a deep breath, forcing himself to calm down. He knew that from this moment on, everything surrounding Lin Yuan and this deep space salvage system would become the highest level of state secret. He walked aside and picked up the red encrypted phone directly connected to the highest authority. His hand trembled slightly, but his voice was resolute. Connect me to the central office. This is Wang Ziyuan. Yes, an urgent communication. Reporting to the chief project Nuwa. Can be initiated. No, it's even more important than we anticipated. 10,000 times more. What we discovered isn't a key. We have directly found the gateway to the kingdom of gods. A long silence fell on the other end of the line. Academician Wang hung up, turned to look at the bewildered Lin Yuan, his expression becoming exceedingly solemn. He straightened his collar as if addressing an important foreign dignitary. Comrade Lin Yuan, he said with unprecedented gravity, I now on behalf of the nation formally extend an invitation to you. The voice of Academician Wang echoed in the silent junkyard, each word carrying undeniable weight. Comrade Lin Yuan, your discovery and your very existence hold immeasurable strategic significance for the country. From now on, your safety will be directly overseen by the highest levels of the state. Lin Yuan listened, still somewhat dazed. Highest level? What does that even mean? He was just a scrap collector who rarely even met a street office director, and now suddenly he was connected to the highest levels of the state. The jump was too great. What do I need to do? Lin Yuan instinctively asked. You don't need to do anything at all. Academician Wang shook his head, his tone remarkably serious. You only need to ensure your own safety, and continue what you were doing before. Continue. Salvaging. Lin Yuan ventured. Exactly. A glimmer sparked in Academician Wang's eyes. Continue salvaging. Whatever you need, the state will provide. Any resources you require, we will spare no effort to fulfill. Your task is to bring back more miracles from that cosmic graveyard for us. He paused, looking at Lin Yuan, speaking each word with gravity. Every time you salvage, it could propel our nation's technology forward by 100 years or even 1,000 years. You are the hope for the future of our civilization. This burden felt overwhelmingly heavy, leaving Lin Yuan somewhat breathless. He merely wanted to pay off his debts and live a good life. How did he suddenly become the hope of an entire civilization? But I know you have many concerns. Academician Wang seemed to see through his thoughts. As for your family, your friends, your debts, and all your past social ties, we will handle them for you. The state will provide you with a generous reward, ensuring that you and your loved ones will never have to worry about food and clothing for the rest of your lives. You deserve this. He pointed to the heavily guarded soldiers and the sophisticated instruments around. But as you can see, the confidentiality level of this matter is the highest. From today onward, you cannot return to your previous life. You will enter our purview, working for the country in an absolutely safe and confidential environment. Lin Yuan fell silent. He understood what Academician Wang meant. His days of freedom were over. From now on, he might reside in a cage more luxurious than a five-star hotel, but without doors. Every move he made would be under the scrutiny of the state. This was the price he had to pay for surrendering the secret. He felt a bit lost, but he did not regret it. Guarding that secret, he would live in constant fear, unsure of when he might be killed by the Void Eater or some other. Now, with the state supporting him, he only needed to focus on salvaging. All the troublesome matters would be taken care of by others. Moreover, he could earn a large sum of money, completely freeing himself from his past predicament. No matter how one looked at it, this deal was not a loss. I understand. Lin Yuan nodded, his expression calming. I am willing to cooperate with the state. Seeing Lin Yuan come to terms so quickly, a hint of approval flashed across Academician Wang's face. Very good. You have made the right choice, Comrade Lin Yuan. History will remember your contributions. At that moment, several black Hongqi cars silently drove into the entrance of the junkyard. The convoy came to a stop, and the rear door of the middle car opened. A man dressed in a Zhongshan suit with a stern demeanor and appearing to be around 60 years old stepped out, surrounded by several guards. As soon as he stepped out of the car, the atmosphere at the scene grew even more tense. Even Academician Wang, upon seeing this man, immediately reined in his excitement and quickly approached, respectfully calling out, Director Chen. The man referred to as Director Chen nodded slightly, his gaze not lingering on the equipment or soldiers, but piercing through the crowd, landing directly on Lin Yuan. It was a scrutinizing and sharp gaze, as if it could see through a person's heart. Lin Yuan felt a shiver down his spine under that gaze and instinctively straightened his back. Director Chen slowly walked up to Lin Yuan, and the guards behind him immediately isolated the surrounding area. You are Lin Yuan. Director Chen spoke, his voice not loud, but carrying the authority of someone long in power. Yes, hello, sir, Lin Yuan replied nervously. Director Chen's gaze lingered on him for a few seconds before slowly speaking. Academician Wang has already briefed me on the situation. Your awareness is commendable. You did not choose to keep this secret for yourself, which is fortunate for the state and the people. His tone was very calm, and it was hard to tell whether it was praise or something else. From now on, your file will be classified as the nation's top secret. All your external identity information will be revoked, and you will acquire a new identity, a new life. Director Chen's gaze turned towards the black metal plate, now reduced to the size of a wash basin. This item, along with everything you will bring back in the future, will be taken over by a newly established special project team that reports directly to the highest levels. He turned back looking at Lin Yuan again, his expression becoming extremely solemn. This project is codenamed Scavenger, and you, Comrade Lin Yuan, will be the sole core of this project. After saying this, Director Chen did not elaborate further, simply nodding slightly at Lin Yuan. Then he turned to the guards behind him and said, "Arrange for Comrade Lin Yuan to get in the car. Everything here will be handled by the Nanchaman project team, conducting the highest level of security and cleanup." Yes. Two tall guards in black suits stepped forward and gestured to Lin Yuan to follow them. "Comrade Lin Yuan, please come with us." Lin Yuan glanced back at the shabby yard filled with scrap iron and sweat where he had lived for several years. He knew that once he stepped into that car, his life would completely head towards an unknown new course filled with opportunities and crises. He took a deep breath, casting one last look at the black metal plate that had changed his fate, then stepped forward resolutely towards the black Hongqi car. The car door slowly closed behind him, isolating him from everything outside. The convoy quietly set off, leaving the junkyard and merging into the city's traffic, ultimately disappearing into the vast night. In the junkyard, Academician Wang watched the departing convoy and excitedly said to his assistant, "Hurry, bring all our equipment over here. I want to establish a permanent frontier laboratory here. Yes, let's call it the Miracle Laboratory. The great journey of humanity exploring the universe is about to officially begin from this junkyard." The black Hongqi sedan cruised with exceptional smoothness, the interior so quiet that one could hear their own breathing. Lin Yuan sat on the soft back seat, his body somewhat stiff. He secretly observed the stern-faced guard beside him, who stared straight ahead, sitting as upright and motionless as a statue. This was the first time in his life he had ridden in such a luxurious car. Back when he collected scrap metal, he had seen bosses driving BMWs and Mercedes, but compared to this vehicle, they somehow felt lacking. The car looked understated from the outside, but once inside, an indescribable aura pressed down on him, making it hard to breathe. His mind was in turmoil. His life had taken a drastic turn, all because of that one careless cut he made this afternoon. The scrapyard was gone. No more worrying about thousands in rent, no more suppliers blocking his door, demanding payment, no more listening to his landlady's harsh and bitter calls for debt collection. But freedom seemed to have vanished too. Academician Wang said he would receive a generous reward to resolve all his worries. How much would it be? 1 million? Or 2 million? Lin Yuan's heart began to race uncontrollably. If it really was 2 million, after paying off the hundreds of thousands he owed, there would still be plenty left. With the remaining money, he could buy an apartment in his hometown county, purchase a storefront, open a small restaurant, and live comfortably for the rest of his life. It felt like a dream. Yet the thought of being confined to one place, unable to leave freely, made him feel uneasy. What was this? Trading freedom for money? But then he reconsidered, had he ever truly possessed freedom before? Rising early and working late, dealing with scrap metal reeking of machine oil, begging and pleading to make a living. Was that freedom? That was merely survival. Now, though perhaps less free, at least he no longer had to worry about money. Moreover, what he was doing sounded impressive, contributing to the nation advancing technology by a century. With this thought, the sense of loss in his heart faded considerably. Everyone has to choose what they value, Lin Yuan muttered to himself. Either money or stability. Now I have both money and stability, just in a peculiar way. I should be grateful. The car drove on for what felt like ages. Lin Yuan felt himself nearly drifting off to sleep. Beyond the window, the familiar cityscape had long vanished, replaced by a pitch-black countryside. Finally, the car entered a tunnel that looked utterly ordinary. The tunnel was long and spiraled downward. Lin Yuan felt his ears pop. They were descending underground. After another 10 minutes or so, the view suddenly opened up. Lin Yuan's mouth slowly fell open. The car stopped in an underground space of unimaginable vastness. It was brilliantly lit, as bright as day. He couldn't see a ceiling overhead, only a crisscrossing network of steel structures and enormous ventilation ducts. The surrounding walls were smooth silver-white metal, spotlessly clean. Countless personnel in uniforms of different colors busied themselves at their stations, while vehicles and equipment he had only ever seen in sci-fi movies silently glided along designated tracks. This place didn't resemble a base, it was more like the underground transport hub of a futuristic city. Wow, how much money did it take to build something like this? Lin Yuan was utterly astounded. His scrapyard, which spanned a few acres, wasn't even comparable to a wreck. The car door opened and Director Chen's secretary, a young man with gold-rimmed glasses who looked refined and scholarly, gestured for him to step out. "Mr. Lin Yuan, please get out. Director Chen and Academician Wang are already waiting for you." Lin Yuan followed him out of the car, his feet stepping onto the mirror-like floor. His old mud-stained sneakers felt utterly out of place in this environment. He instinctively scraped his soles on the ground, trying to remove the mud, but the floor was so clean nothing would come off. The secretary noticed this small gesture, but said nothing, merely smiling as he led the way. They passed through several heavy metal doors requiring facial and iris recognition, then entered a high-speed elevator. There were no buttons inside. The secretary simply tapped on a screen embedded in the wall, and the elevator began to ascend rapidly. With a soft ding, the elevator doors opened. Before them was no longer the vast industrial space, but a quiet corridor lined with soft carpet. Mr. Lin Yuan, this is your living area, the secretary introduced. You'll be staying here from now on. To the left are your bedroom and study. To the right are a gym, entertainment room, and medical monitoring room. A nutritionist will prepare your 3 meals daily. For any living needs, you can call service staff at any time through the terminal in your room. The secretary pushed open a door, and Lin Yuan peered inside, stunned once again. This was no mere bedroom. It was the presidential suite of a 5-star hotel. There was a massive floor-to-ceiling window. Wait, they were underground. Where could a window come from? He stepped closer and realized the window was actually an entire wall of ultra-high-definition screens displaying a pastoral scene identical to his hometown down to the distant river, clearly visible. This is an environmental simulation system, the secretary explained. It can simulate real-time scenery and weather from anywhere on Earth according to your needs. We understand you might find underground living challenging. We hope this helps you feel more at ease. Lin Yuan touched the bed, which looked exorbitantly expensive, then glanced at the independent study larger than his entire scrapyard office. He felt as though he were dreaming. I'm living in a place this big, all by myself. Yes, Mr. Lin Yuan. Given confidentiality requirements and your importance, the entire living area is currently dedicated solely to you. The secretary's tone was calm, as if stating a trivial fact. Lin Yuan's throat went dry. The treatment was too good, so good it made him uneasy. Director Chun and academician Wang are waiting for you in the meeting room. The secretary led him through the living room to another door. The door opened to reveal Director Chun and academician Wang seated at a massive conference table with steaming tea set before them. Comrade Xiao Lin, you're here, academician Wang said warmly, rising to his feet. Have a seat, have a seat. You must be tired after the long journey. Director Chun merely nodded slightly, his gaze still sharp. Lin Yuan sat awkwardly on a chair, perching only on the edge. Comrade Xiao Lin, Director Chun began, his voice devoid of emotion. I know this sudden change may be hard to adjust to, but the nation needs you, the people need you. Your contributions will not be forgotten. He signaled to the secretary nodded, pulled 2 items from his briefcase, and placed them gently before Lin Yuan. One was a brand new ID card bearing his original photo, but with a completely changed name, address, and ID number. The other was a black bank card. This ID is your future identity. From today onward, the name Lin Yuan, along with all his past social information, has been sealed. In the outside world, you will use this new identity. As for this card, Director Chin paused, meeting Lin Yuan's eyes. This is the nation's first reward for you. All your debts have been cleared through special channels. Every loan from the bank, every payment owed to suppliers, and every cent borrowed from friends. Not a single cent short. Hearing this, the heaviest weight lifted from Lin Yuan's heart. Thank you. Thank you, the nation, he stammered, overwhelmed with emotion. This is just the beginning, Director Chun continued, his tone still flat. There is additional money in this card for your personal and family relocation expenses. The password is 6/8. Lin Yuan picked up the card, his hands trembling. In his entire life, the most he had ever had in his account was 50,000. How much would be in this one? 500,000. Or $1 million. There's a terminal nearby, you can check now, the secretary prompted. Lin Yuan nodded, walked over to a machine resembling an ATM, and clumsily inserted the card. He took a deep breath, his trembling fingers entering the password. He checked the balance. On the screen, a long string of numbers appeared. Lin Yuan's eyes widened in shock. He leaned closer, counting the zeros one by one. Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, millions, 10 millions. Hundreds of millions. 100 million. Lin Yuan's mind went blank, buzzing. Thinking his eyes were playing tricks on him, he rubbed them vigorously and counted again. No mistake. Behind the 1 were exactly 8 zeros. 100 million. A figure he had never even dared to dream of now appeared in his bank account. His legs went weak, and he nearly fell, grabbing the machine for support. This is for me, he asked, his voice trembling as he turned to look at Director Chun and academician Wang. Yes, 100 million, Director Chun said, his expression unchanged, as if it were a trivial sum. This is just an advance payment. In the future, for each successful salvage operation, you will receive rewards based on the value of the items retrieved. No upper limit. No upper limit. Lin Yuan felt his heart pounding, as if it would leap from his throat. He had thought he was entering a cage, but now he realized he had fallen into a rice jar, a jar made of gold and diamonds. Additionally, the secretary added, we investigated your social connections. Your parents passed away early, and you have no immediate relatives. The only person is a distant uncle who helped fund your scrapyard. Under the name of an overseas investment company, we have given him a 5 million dividend, enough for his retirement. To the outside world, the story is that you were recruited by this overseas company and sent abroad for a long-term project, not returning for the next decade. Lin Yuan listened to these arrangements, and the last shreds of worry and attachment dissolved. The nation had thought of everything, covering every detail he could imagine and beyond. Now he was truly a scavenger with no ties, dedicated solely to salvaging for the nation. Lin Yuan let out a long breath, walked back to the conference table, and sat down. This time his eyes no longer held the earlier nervousness and unease. Instead, they shone with an unprecedented determination. Chief Academician Wang, just tell me what to do next. I'm ready. Seeing Lin Yuan adjust his mindset so swiftly, Director Chen's gaze showed a glint of approval for the first. To face a fortune of 100 million and such a drastic upheaval in life with such rapid composure, this young man's character far exceeded his expectations. Very well. Director Chen nodded. Before we begin work, we need a comprehensive understanding of you, not just physically, but more importantly about that deep space salvage system. He turned to Academician Wang, who immediately understood. He activated a projection device on the table, casting a blue holographic screen in midair, clearly displaying the system interface Lin Yuan had previously described. Comrade Lin, this is a 110 replica of the system interface model based on your description. Academician Wang pointed at the holographic screen, his expression solemn. Now I need you to tell us every detail you know about this system. Leave nothing out. All right, Academician Wang. Lin Yuan steadied himself and began to recall. First, there's this mental strength stat. When I first saw it, it was 8, and it's still 8 now. I don't know how it's calculated. The system only says ordinary people have 5. A female researcher in a white lab coat beside Academician Wang immediately jotted it down, murmuring his base mental strength is 60, higher than average. This could be a key reason the system chose him. He needs a full brainwave and quantum neural mapping scan. Director Chen nodded slightly, signaling Lin Yuan. Then there's the status. Last time I came back, it showed severe mental backlash, and my head ached like hell. Now it's mild mental backlash, just a faint lingering pain. Regarding the mechanism of mental backlash, we speculate that when the drone was damaged, the feedback damage information flow exceeded your brain's processing capacity, causing neural overload trauma, analyzed another male researcher with glasses. We need to build a mathematical model to quantify the relationship between drone damage severity and mental backlash. That way we can set a safe return threshold for future salvages. Listening to the barrage of technical jargon, Lin Yuan felt like he was hearing a foreign language. Quantum neural mapping, mathematical models. He couldn't understand a single word. He could only continue with what he understood. This drone Scavenger 1 is now LV2. The energy reserve cap feels like it's increased too. Before it was 100, now I reckon it's around 200, but the panel doesn't specify. Energy core tied to level upgrades increase energy cap. Note that down, Academician Wang told his assistant. Payload is still 50 kilograms. That hasn't changed. Stealth went from extremely low to low, slight increase. That was from the upgrade I did last time with using the structural information of the Oracle-class radar armor to generate a basic stealth coating. Academician Wang muttered, his eyes burning with fervor. This means the system can not only absorb energy, but also analyze material structures and convert them into applicable technology. It's reverse engineering, the most efficient reverse engineering. The scientists present grew excited. If the salvaged materials were the fish, then this analytical ability was the blueprint for the net. The significance is entirely different. Comrade Lin, please continue. Director Chen raised his hand to calm the restless scientists. The functions are still basic grasp and basic scan. The scan, when I get close to something, a few lines pop up in my head telling me what it is. Like that panel last time, it said, unknown alloy armor, outer armor of Oracle-class interstellar radar. So the system has a massive database that can identify items in its library. Academician Wang said, his breathing quickening. Did it ever scan anything that wasn't in its database? Lin Yuan thought for a moment. Not really. Every scan had a result. Oh right. In that cosmic graveyard, besides warship wrecks, there were some things I don't know how to describe. Like a dilapidated floating city and a skeleton bigger than a mountain. I didn't dare get close, so I don't know what scanning them would yield. A floating city from a magical civilization. A colossal relic from a biological civilization. A young scientist couldn't help guessing. Quiet. Director Chen shot him a glare, and the young scientist immediately shrank back. Finally, there's the salvage area and warnings. Lin Yuan pointed at the last 2 lines of the holographic display. It's still 001 Novice Zone, Silent Star, see danger level low. But that warning, Void Devourer. I'm telling you, that thing is truly terrifying. Just mentioning the Void Devourer made Lin Yuan's face pale. It's a black shadow, alive and moving. It has no eyes or mouth, but I could feel it watching me. When it came near, any warship fragment, no matter how big, vanished on contact. Not an explosion, just disappeared, not even a trace left. Last time I almost got sucked in. The feeling, like my soul was being pulled out. Lin Yuan's description sent a chill through everyone present. An unknown entity that could directly devour matter and even affect the mental plane. A higher dimensional predator. Academician Wang's face grew extremely grave. It devours matter, likely not through physical destruction, but by erasing the existence of matter from a spatial or even conceptual level. Such a creature is beyond the comprehension of us three-dimensional beings. Avoiding direct contact with it at all costs is imperative, Director Chen concluded. Comrade Lin Yuan, in every future salvage operation, safety is paramount. No target, no matter how valuable, is worth risking your life. A warmth spread through Lin Yuan's heart. He had thought he'd become a mere tool. Would the higher-ups care about his life? Now it seemed the nation valued him far more than he had imagined. I understand, Chief. Good. We now have a general understanding of the system's basics. Director Chen stood up and walked to the large simulation screen where the pastoral scene switched to a complex organizational chart. At the very top of the chart was a bright red box wrapped in layers of encrypted symbols bearing 3 large characters: Scavenger. Now let me formally introduce the project that serves you. Director Chen's voice grew solemn. Approved by the highest authorities, this special civilization relic excavation and analysis project is officially established, codenamed Scavenger. It has the highest level clearance and resource allocation authority. The project reports directly to me. Director Chen pointed to himself. I, Chen Weigua, am the project's He then pointed to Academician Wang. Academician Wang Ziyuan is the project's chief scientist responsible for the technical analysis and applied research of all salvaged items. The project has 6 departments: intelligence analysis, responsible for building the cosmic graveyard database from your descriptions and salvage info, assessing value and risk; technical support, providing you with all technical assistance, including upgrading your personal terminal; logistics, handling your daily life, physiological and psychological health; security, with 3 layers of top-tier special forces protecting you; and the base 247 EU application and conversion, turning the technologies analyzed by Academician Wang's team into practical results; and liaison. Director Chen paused, his gaze falling on Lin Yuan again. You, Comrade Lin Yuan, will be the sole member and most important member of the liaison department. Your title is Special Liaison Officer for the Scavenger Project. Your only task is to operate the deep space salvage system, serving as the sole bridge between us and that cosmic graveyard. The entire project, thousands of top scientists, engineers, and soldiers, will revolve around you alone. Every salvage you conduct will affect the nerves of the entire nation. Chen Weigua looked Lin Yuan in the eye and said word by word, Comrade Lin Yuan, from now on you are no longer an ordinary citizen. You are our civilization's first tentacle reaching into the cosmos. On your shoulders rests the future of our entire people. Hearing this, Lin Yuan felt his blood boil. Previously, he was just a small scrap yard owner drowning in tens of thousands in debt, his biggest life goal being mere survival. Now he had become the key figure determining the nation's future. The impact and sense of mission from this identity shift were far more staggering than 100 million in the bank. He opened his mouth wanting to say something, but found any grand words hollow. In the end, he simply nodded heavily, using all his strength to say yes. I guarantee I will complete the mission. In the following days, Lin Yuan experienced the most surreal period of his life. He became the most special and leisurely person in the base. His daily routine consisted of eating, sleeping, watching movies, and playing games in his luxurious suite. 3 meals a day were brought to him by a beautiful nutritionist in a white lab coat who smiled as she watched him eat and attentively asked what he'd like for the next meal. He casually mentioned craving lamb palma from his hometown, and the next day at noon, a steaming bowl of authentic-tasting lamb palma was placed before him, nearly moving him to tears. He later learned that the base had flown in an old chef from Xi'an along with his family's secret broth recipe via helicopter just for that bowl of palma. This extravagant lifestyle made Lin Yuan uncomfortable at first. Having endured hardship for so long, he felt out of place. But after a few days, he gradually got used to it. After all, who would argue with a good life? While he enjoyed his decadent lifestyle, the entire scavenger base operated with astonishing efficiency. Academician Wang led hundreds of top experts from various fields, forming over a dozen research teams that analyzed the black armor plate, now only the size of a wash basin, day and night. They employed every cutting-edge device the nation could provide, from high-energy particle colliders to quantum microscopes, attempting to pry open a corner of this divine fragment. Meanwhile, another team, personally led by Chen Weigua, prepared for Lin Yuan's next salvage operation. One morning, just as Lin Yuan finished his run at the gym and returned to his room, drenched in sweat, Chen Weigua's secretary came calling. Mr. Lin Yuan, your dedicated connection room is ready. Director Chen and Academician Wang invite you to inspect it. Connection room. Lin Yuan was taken aback. It's a room specially prepared for your salvage operations. He followed the secretary to a newly built room adjacent to his living quarters. Pushing open the heavy soundproof door, Lin Yuan was stunned by the sight. The room was modest, about 50 square meters, with a futuristic silver-white seat at its center. The seat was ergonomically designed, resembling a pilot's cockpit chair surrounded by intricate mechanical arms and probes Lin Yuan couldn't identify. The walls, ceiling, and floor were all composed of display panels currently emitting a soft white glow. Chen Weiguo and Academician Wang stood beside the seat. Seeing Lin Yuan enter, the latter eagerly waved him over. "Comrade Shaolin, come quick. Take a look at the new cockpit we've prepared for you." Lin Yuan approached, curiously touching the seat. Its surface was cool and smooth. "Academician Wang, what's this for?" "This is the Deep Dive Neural Interface System." Academician Wang introduced proudly. "Based on your description, every time you salvage, your consciousness leaves your body, entering a state of soul projection. This process puts immense strain on your body, especially your brain. The last mental backlash was proof. So we built this system for you." Pointing to the dense array of probes on the seat, Academician Wang continued, "When you sit here to salvage, these bioelectrode probes automatically connect to your head and spine. They monitor your brainwaves, heart rate, blood pressure, neural signals, every physiological indicator in real time. If any abnormal fluctuation occurs, such as early signs of mental backlash, the system immediately. In critical situations, it can even forcibly terminate your connection, pulling your consciousness back into your body." He then gestured to the surrounding screen walls. "These panoramic screens sync with your system interface. Though we can't see your subjective view, we can simulate what you see based on the visual signals from your brain. In other words, whatever you see in the cosmic graveyard, we can get a rough idea here." Lin Yuan was left speechless. So from now on, when he drives, a bunch of top-tier experts would act as co-pilots watching the road for him, equipped with automatic braking and panoramic views. The safety factor just skyrocketed. "That's incredible," Lin Yuan exclaimed sincerely. "This is just the beginning." Chen Weiguo added calmly, "Our goal is to establish a firewall between you and the system. Ultimately, all mental backlash should be borne by this equipment, leaving you unharmed." Lin Yuan the nation was protecting him like a national treasure beyond compare. "Thank you, Commander. Thank you, Academician Wang. This is our duty." Chen Weiguo waved dismissively. "The equipment is ready. Now we need to discuss your second salvage." He gestured for everyone to sit in the nearby meeting area, where a virtual star map unfolded on the table. "Based on your description, we've conducted a preliminary risk assessment and zoning of the 001 Novice Zone Silent Sea of Stars." The head of the Intelligence Analysis Department, a sharp-looking middle-aged man, began his briefing. "This area has low debris density, gentle energy fluctuations, and relatively infrequent void devourer appearances, making it suitable for novices. However, we've identified a problem." He pointed to a region on the star map. "Your last salvage of the Oracle-grade armor occurred here, and your encounter with the void devourer was here. The two locations are very close. We suspect that high-value items, or those with stronger energy signatures, are more likely to attract void. It's like blood in the ocean attracting sharks." Lin Yuan nodded in agreement. "So we've charted several relatively safe salvage routes for you." The analyst traced green lines on the star map. "These routes pass through debris fields with weak energy, for example, structural fragments of ordinary warships or remnants of abandoned space stations. Our suggestion is that until we fully understand the void devourer's behavior, your initial salvages should start by retrieving low-value but data-rich common junk to help build our database." The proposal was sound and scientific. But Lin Yuan frowned. "So you mean I should specifically collect worthless scrap?" "From a scientific standpoint, yes. We need ample samples for analysis." The analyst nodded. "But," Lin Yuan hesitated before speaking, "his mind system upgrades require energy and rare material. If I haul back scrap metal, it might not even cover the energy to repair the drone, let alone upgrade it. Without upgrades, my drone remains this shoddy thing. Low stealth, low payload. If danger strikes, I can't I think we need to take a gamble. Higher risk, higher reward. I almost died last time, but that plate I brought back charged the system and upgraded the drone, didn't it?" Lin Yuan's thinking was direct and utilitarian, a habit formed from years running a junkyard, always seeking the best cost-benefit ratio. His words silenced the scientists. They were used to starting from theory and data, aiming for absolute certainty. Lin Yuan, however, operated from practice and outcomes, believing in fortune favors the bold. The two mindsets clashed for the first time. Academician Wang pondered for a moment before speaking. "Comrade Shaolin has a point. We can't guide a real dangerous war with lab thinking. The system has its rules, and we must seek the optimal solution within them." He turned to Lin Yuan. "Shaolin, what do you have in mind? What do you want to salvage next?" Lin Yuan's eyes lit up. He had feared the experts would be too rigid to listen. "Academician Wang, I upgraded stealth last time. Just a minor boost, but I want to test it. Also, besides that black plate, I saw something else there." "What?" Everyone perked up. Inside the command cabin of that wrecked Oracle-class raider, Lin Yuan recalled, "I only glimpsed it. A small, faintly blue glowing thing on a console, like a USB drive." "A USB drive?" Academician Wang's breath quickened. "A data storage unit." "Exactly." Lin Yuan slapped his thigh. "That ship was incredible. Whatever's on that USB drive can't be junk. Maybe the ship's blueprints or an interstellar navigation chart." A collective gasp filled the room. Every scientist's eyes gleamed with wolfish hunger. A single armor plate had already overwhelmed them with its beyond-era performance. If they could obtain the full technical database of an Oracle-class raider, the thought was too beautiful to bear. Risk. The risk is too high. The intelligence analysis chief objected immediately. That area has confirmed void devourer activity. Returning is like pulling teeth from a tiger's mouth. But the reward is huge. Another young scientist retorted. A complete alien technology database. Who can resist that temptation? We must ensure Comrade Lin Yuan's safety. Scientific progress cannot be without risk. The room erupted into chaos. Everyone looked to Chen Weiguo for the final decision. He remained silent for a long time, ignoring the arguing scientists, his gaze fixed on Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan, you're the sole executor. Your opinion matters most. He spoke slowly. Tell me, what are your odds? Meeting Chen Weiguo's eyes, Lin Yuan knew this was both trust and a test. He took a deep breath and raised 50%. If it's just retrieving the item, I have 50%. But his gaze sharpened. With the automatic braking system you've installed, I think I can add at least another 20%. 70%. Chen Weiguo looked at Lin Yuan, a flicker of barely perceptible emotion passing through his eyes. He hadn't expected that after witnessing the terror of the Void Devourer, Lin Yuan would still dare to offer such a high success rate. This kid was either a fearless novice or possessed absolute confidence in himself and the new equipment. All right. Chen Weiguo slammed the table decisively, making his decision. We'll proceed with Comrade Lin Yuan's plan. All departments are to enter immediate first-level combat readiness and fully support Comrade Lin Yuan's second salvage operation. Yes, sir. The entire base, this colossal machinery of the nation, began to whirl into frantic motion, all centered around Lin Yuan's will. Half an hour later, Lin Yuan was seated in a futuristic silver-white chair. Cool bioelectrode probes were carefully affixed to his temples, the back of his neck, and his spine by medical staff in white coats. Mr. Lin Yuan, please relax. Don't be nervous. The head of the medical team, a gentle female doctor, soothed him. We will monitor all your vital signs in real time from outside. If there are any abnormalities, we will take immediate action. Lin Yuan nodded and took a deep breath. It would be a lie to say he wasn't nervous. The sensation of his head feeling like it was about to explode last time was something he never wanted to experience again. But this time, looking at the bustling experts and the precision instruments with their blinking indicator lights, he felt an inexplicable sense of reassurance. Having the nation's backing felt damn good. All systems self-check complete. Vital signs monitoring system. Neural signal synchronization system normal. Forced interruption program on standby. Comrade Lin Yuan, you may begin. Academician Wang's voice came through the headphones from the console. Lin Yuan closed his eyes and, following the familiar feeling, recited silently in his mind. System initiate connection. Whoosh. The familiar powerful suction, as if his soul was being pulled away. But unlike last time, he now felt a gentle, yet powerful force enveloping his soul, greatly reducing the dizzying, disorienting sensation. It was like riding a roller coaster. Last time without a seatbelt, this time strapped into a 5-point harness with 2 airbags. Neural connection stable. Consciousness projection successfully entered subspace channel. Visual signal synchronized. Generating simulated imagery. Before Lin Yuan could even take in the scene before him, a series of excited reports came through his earpiece. He opened his eyes and found himself once again transformed into the small Scavenger 1 drone floating in the midst of profound darkness and silence. In the corner of his vision, a small semi-transparent green window appeared, displaying his heart rate and blood pressure. Comrade Shaolin, can you hear me? How do you feel? Academician Wang's voice came through clearly. I can hear you, Academician Wang. I feel much better than last time, not as dizzy. Lin Yuan replied, while maneuvering the drone, slowly rotating it in place. Meanwhile, in the connection room, a massive screen wall was displaying a blurry but discernible 3D image composed of countless data streams and light points being constructed in real time. Though far less stunning than what Lin Yuan saw firsthand, when the colossal biological skeleton, like the remains of a deity, appeared on the screen, a stifled gasp of awe rippled through the entire command center. My God, this is the cosmic graveyard. So magnificent. Any single fragment could be the tombstone of a civilization. The scientists were deeply shaken by the sight. For the first time, they could so intuitively see a world beyond Earth, one far grander and more brutal. Everyone's silence. Focus on your tasks and record the data, Chen Weiguo ordered in a low voice. Lin Yuan paid no heed to the external commotion. All his concentration was locked onto the task before him. System, open the map and locate the last coordinates. Location complete. A rudimentary star map composed of light points and lines unfolded in Lin Yuan's field of vision, with a red coordinate point blinking. Energy consumption 10 points. Opening subspace channel. Current energy reserve 1840200. Drone status intact. Lin Yuan glanced at his energy bar and felt reassured. Let's move. With a thought, the Scavenger 1's engines ignited, emitting a faint blue glow as it sped toward the target coordinates. After the coating upgrade, the drone's flight noise seemed even quieter, and the engine's glow was dimmer, nearly invisible in the dark void of space. Stealth improved, energy fluctuation reduced by 12. 7. A technician in the command center immediately reported the precise data. Excellent. Academician Wang pumped his fist in excitement. This means the probability of attracting the Void Devourer is correspondingly reduced. The drone wove its way through countless colossal wrecks. Lin Yuan carefully controlled its speed, trying to avoid areas with strong energy reactions. With experience from last time, he was now adept, like a seasoned scavenger searching for treasures in a familiar. After about 10 minutes, the massive mountain-like wreck of the Prophet-class plunder ship, covered in terrifying claw marks, reappeared in his view. Arrived at target area, Lin Yuan reported softly. All units attention. Enter high alert. The atmosphere in the command center instantly tensed. Lin Yuan maneuvered the drone to slowly approach the bridge of the ship. The bridge had been torn open with a massive gash revealing broken circuits and shattered consoles inside. He carefully slipped through the breach. A chilling, deathly stillness rushed toward him as if the ship's dying whale was still frozen in this space. Lin Yuan shivered, forcing himself to focus as he began searching the shattered command cabin. His eyes scanned the bizarrely shaped seats, dark screens, and broken control levers. The technology here was utterly alien to Earth, exuding a rough, wild beauty. Found it. Lin Yuan's gaze locked onto the center of the main console. There, in a palm-sized slot made of an unknown crystal, sat a U.S.-shaped object emitting a faint blue glow, perfectly still and seemingly untouched by the explosion. Scanning. Target: Prophet-level civilization, standard data, core, damaged, energy reaction, moderate structural integrity, high analysis, may contain foundational tech tree data, star charts, and other critical information from this civilization. Partial data units corrupted. Seeing the scan results, Lin Yuan and every scientist in the command center felt their hearts skip a beat. A foundational tech tree. Those 4 words carried immense weight. That's it. Academician Wang shouted excitedly. Shaolin, bring it back at all costs. Lin Yuan licked his dry lips and maneuvered the drone, slowly extending its mechanical claw. Warning. Grasping action will generate energy fluctuations, potentially attracting unknown threats. The familiar system prompt appeared again. Lin Yuan's heart tightened, but the arrow had been fired. Grab. With a thought, the claw firmly gripped the end of the data core. Initiating extraction. The data core was wedged tightly. Lin Yuan maxed out the drone's engine power, pulling outward with force. Creak. A piercing sound of metal grinding echoed through the silent command cabin. The data core was slowly being pulled out. Just then, a shrill alarm blared in the command center. Alert! Alert! Detected high-intensity spatial distortion. Coordinates 739. Approximately 50 astronomical units from the target. Energy level. Incalculable. It's the Void Devourer. It's coming. The intelligence analysis director's voice turned shrill. On the screen, a massive red dot representing the terrifying threat was hurtling toward Lin Yuan's position at an inconceivable speed. Shaolin, hurry. Abort the mission. Return immediately. Academician Wang, drenched in sweat, yelled into the microphone. Lin Yuan's scalp crawled. Damn it, why again? And so fast. He glanced at the data core half pulled out, then at the rapidly approaching shadow of death in the distance. He gritted his teeth and steeled his resolve. Since I'm already here, there's no way I'm going back empty-handed. Get the hell out. He roared, pouring all his mental energy into controlling the drone. Clang. With a sharp sound, the blue data core was finally yanked free. Got it. Run. Lin Yuan immediately commanded the claw to secure the core tightly, while turning the drone around to flee. Return. Return immediately, he screamed at the system. Initiating return procedure. 3 seconds needed for spatial positioning. 3. The Void Devourer had halved the distance, its massive twisted shadow already covering a small portion of the starry sky. Hurry. 2. A familiar, irresistible pull came from behind, and the drone's speed began to drop uncontrollably. Warning. Drone affected by high-dimensional gravitational field. Energy reserve plummeting. 850,200. 620200. 400200. The energy bar drained like water through an open sluice gate. Hang in there, Shaolin. In the command center, everyone stood up, staring at the rapidly plummeting numbers on the screen. Lin Yuan felt his very soul being pulled by that force, and a sharp pain began throbbing in his head. The precursor to mental backlash. 1. Boom. Just as the return countdown ended, an unimaginable gravitational force slammed violently into the drone's rear. Lin Yuan saw a flash of white, and his brain felt as if struck by an invisible giant hammer, instantly losing all sensation. In his last moment before losing consciousness, he heard the system's cold prompt. Return successful. Warning. Drone suffered fatal strike. Hull damage 93. Host sustained overload mental backlash. In the connection room, a deathly silence reigned. Everyone stared blankly at the main screen where the simulated footage had abruptly cut to static and at the vital signs monitor beside it, where data had spiked to its limit before plummeting precipitously. Beep, beep, beep. A shrill alarm blared throughout the command center. Comrade Lin Yuan's heartbeat has stopped. Brainwave activity has dropped to its lowest level. Vital signs are fading. The head of the medical team screamed, his voice filled with panic. Defibrillator. Adrenaline. Hurry. Director Chun. Academician Wang. We might lose him. The entire command center erupted into chaos. Everyone calmed down. Chen Weiguo roared, his face ashen. His voice like a thunderclap instantly quelled. He dashed to the side of the connection chair, looking at Lin Yuan, whose face was pale as paper and had completely stopped breathing. A flicker of pain and resolve passed through his eyes. Academician Wang. How is the Panga system coming along? Academician Wang was also drenched in sweat, his eyes fixed on his computer screen, where countless lines of code flashed by at lightning speed. Almost there. The risk of the forced neural awakening procedure is too high. The success rate is under 30. There's no time to worry about that now. Chen Weiguo bellowed. If he dies, all our efforts will be for nothing. Execute Plan B. Plan B. Academician Wang was taken aback, then realization dawned, and a look of horror crossed his face. Director, that's just a theoretical conjecture. We've never conducted any experiments. Injecting system energy directly into his brain. What if? No what ifs. Chen Weiguo grabbed Academician Wang by the collar, his eyes bloodshot. The system in his brain is his only hope of survival. Gamble. Do it now. Seeing the unwavering determination in Chen Weiguo's eyes, Academician Wang gritted his teeth, turned, and shouted to his assistants. Activate the Panga system. Initiate energy coupling protocol. Target Comrade Lin Yuan's deep space salvage system. Yes, sir. Meanwhile, Lin Yuan's consciousness drifted in an endless void of darkness and cold. Am I dead? That was his only thought. He couldn't feel his body, couldn't feel anything, only an extreme, eternal solitude. Last time he was electrocuted, he still felt like he was soaking in warm water, but this time there was nothing. It was as if he had been completely erased from the world. That void devourer was too terrifying. Although he wasn't fully consumed in the end, the sheer force of the impact was enough to shatter his soul. It's over. This time I'm really done for. 100 million in savings, and I hadn't even spent a single cent. After just a few days of good living, it all ends like this. I shouldn't have been so greedy. I should have listened to the experts and just stuck to picking up scraps. Just as Lin Yuan's consciousness was about to completely dissipate, a cold, emotionless, mechanical, synthesized voice stubbornly rang out from the deepest recesses of his mind. Detected extremely weak, host mental fluctuations on the verge of extinction. Detected external high-purity bioelectrical energy injection. Beginning absorption. Energy reserve 150-0200. Warning, energy reserve is negative. System imminent collapse. Absorbing external energy. 145-0200. 130-0200. This voice, like a lifeline in the darkness, allowed Lin Yuan's fading consciousness to coalesce once more. The system is still here. I can still be saved. He mustered all his remaining consciousness, focusing it entirely on that voice. Meanwhile, in the outside world, inside the connection room, Academician Wang was shouting hoarsely at his computer. Increase energy output power. 20. 30. His brainwaves are reacting. They're reacting. Steady the energy output. Can't go too high. ITLL fry his brain. Several additional probes crackling with blue arcs of electricity extended from the headrest of the connection chair and precisely attached to Lin Yuan's temples. Streams of precisely calculated biocurrent flowed continuously into his brain. Lin Yuan felt a warm, life-giving spring nourishing his parched soul. In his mind, the energy reserve indicator on the system interface was climbing from negative to positive slowly but steadily. 500-200, 100-200, 200-50200. The moment the energy reserve turned positive, Lin Yuan felt his entire soul jolt violently, and his connection to his body was instantly restored. Cough, cough, cough. On the connection chair, Lin Yuan, who had been in a state of death, suddenly began coughing violently and snapped his eyes open. He gasped for air like a drowning man finally breathing his first breath of fresh air. He's alive. He's come back. Heartbeat restored. Blood pressure back to normal. Brainwave activity is rapidly recovering. The command center erupted in earth-shattering cheers. Everyone hugged each other excitedly, and many young researchers even wept for joy. Chen Weiguo and Academician Wang, watching the normalizing vital sign curves on the main screen, went weak in the knees and collapsed to the floor simultaneously. Those few minutes had been more thrilling than anything they had experienced in their entire lives. Quick, get Comrade Lin Yuan down. Academician Wang shouted hoarsely to the medical staff. Lin Yuan was helped out of the chair by several doctors. His body was weak, drenched in cold sweat, but his eyes were exceptionally bright. He looked around at the scientists, their faces flushed with excitement at Chun Weiguo, and Academician Wang slumped on the floor and broke into a pale smile. Director Academician Wang. I am back. His voice was hoarse, but filled with strength. Academician Wang struggled to his feet, strode over to him, grabbed his hand, and was too moved to speak. It's good you're back. It's good you're back. Comrade Lin Yuan. Chun Weiguo also approached, his voice still authoritative, but laced with an undeniable tremor. How do you feel? Any discomfort? My head still hurts a bit, but it's much better than last time. Lin Yuan shook his head, then his gaze grew intensely fervent. Director Academician Wang. Guess what I brought back? Everyone was taken aback. That's right. What was the result of this salvage operation? All eyes instinctively turned to the materialization platform in the center of the connection room. There, lying quietly in the center of the platform, was a palm-sized object resembling a USB drive made entirely of blue crystal. A faint luster flowed across its surface, exuding a sense of mysterious technology. Although the drone had suffered a fatal blow in the final moments of its return, this treasure it carried had been brought back intact. The data core. It's the data core. A scientist exclaimed in shock. Academician Wang's eyes instantly reddened. He rushed over like a whirlwind, donned the sterile gloves prepared in advance, and carefully, as if holding a sacred relic, cradled the data core in his palm. We did it. We actually did it. He murmured, tears streaming down his aged face. For this tiny chip, they had almost lost Lin Yuan, the future hope of this nation. But now it seemed all the risks had been worthwhile. Lin Yuan, leaning on the medical staff, looked at Academician Wang, who was excited as a child, and said weakly, but with immense pride, I brought it back. I brought back the technology tree of that Oracle civilization. These words exploded like a bombshell in the command center. A tech tree. He brought back an alien civilization's tech tree. Academician Wang held the blue data core, his hands trembling as he repeated the phrase incessantly. The surrounding scientists surged forward like madmen, their eyes gleaming with greedy, fervent light, as if they were not seeing a mere chip, but a gateway to an entirely new world. Everyone stand back. Maintain a safe distance. The head of the security department rushed in with his team, separating the excited scientists from the data core. Begin a comprehensive test immediately. Radiation, biological activity, mimetic contamination. Every single item must be checked. Those present were the nation's finest minds, fully aware that an alien civilization's data core could be a treasure trove of boundless knowledge or Pandora's box containing a demon. Any trace of carelessness could bring about catastrophic devastation. Soon testers in heavy protective suits pushed various precision instruments and carefully placed the data core into a transparent, hermetically sealed box filled with inert gas. Report. No harmful radiation detected. Report. No biological activity found. Report. Information field stable, no signs of mimetic contamination. One encouraging report after another came in, and a smile finally spread across Chun Weiguo's face. Excellent. Send it to Lab Miracle 1 immediately. Academician Wang, the decoding work is in your hands. I guarantee the mission will be completed. Academician Wang straightened his back, his voice ringing out powerfully, belying his age. He watched the sealed box being escorted away under layers of protection, his eyes ablaze with unprecedented determination. Meanwhile, Lin Yuan, surrounded by a crowd of doctors and nurses, was escorted to the medical room for a thorough examination from head to toe, down to every hair. The results relieved all the physicians. Mr. Lin Yuan's body shows no organic damage aside from some weakness. His cerebral cortex exhibited excessive electrical activity, but it has since stabilized. Frankly, it's a miracle, the head of the medical team remarked, marveling at the report. Lin Yuan lay on the comfortable medical bed, sipping the warm nutrient solution handed to him by a young nutritionist. He felt as if he had fought a grueling 3-day battle, his body utterly spent, yet his spirit was exceptionally exhilarated. He opened the system interface in his mind. Deep Space Salvage System, host Lin Yuan, mental strength 8, status mental backlash from overload, recovering salvage drone scavenger 1, level LV2 status, core, severely damaged, repair requires 1500 energy points, and 1 rare structural material energy, reserve 150200. Seeing the drone's status, Lin Yuan gasped. Good heavens, 93 damage, and the repair cost was 1,500 energy points, 15 times more than last time. And there was an additional requirement for a rare structural material 1. System, what is this rare structural material? He asked silently. The drone's core framework was completely destroyed by high-dimensional gravitational forces during this return voyage. It cannot be repaired through pure energy alone. At least 1 LV2 or higher structural material is needed as a repair framework. Lin Yuan understood. Energy alone wasn't enough, a skeleton was required. The piece of Oracle-class armor he had salvaged last time. After absorbing the energy, the remaining fragment. Wasn't that exactly an LV2 or higher material? It seemed this system truly operated on the principle of taking from the people using for the people forming a perfect cycle of salvage repair and upgrade. However, 1,500 energy points. He only had 150 now, far from enough. It looked like he wouldn't be able to repair the drone before the next salvage operation. Comrade Lin Yuan, how are you feeling? Chun Weiguo and Academician Wang entered. Academician Wang's face still bore a lingering flush, clearly still immersed in immense joy. Reporting to the chief, I feel great. Ready for the next salvage at any time. Lin Yuan joked. Nonsense. Chun Weiguo and Academician Wang scolded in unison. This mental backlash you suffered was 10 times worse than last time. If we hadn't prepared Plan B, you wouldn't have made it back. Academician Wang shot him a glare, though his eyes were filled with concern. The medical team's opinion is that you must undergo mandatory rest for at least a month. Until all your physiological indicators return to normal, you are absolutely forbidden from making any more connections. A month. Lin Yuan was stunned. Then, the decoding work. Decoding can't be rushed, Chun Weiguo said sternly. That's a tough nut to crack. Academician Wang and his team have their hands full. Your top priority now is to recover your health. Your safety is the cornerstone of the scavenger project, and that is non-negotiable. Faced with Chun Weiguo's unyielding gaze, Lin Yuan had to nod. All right, I'll listen to the organization. In the days that followed, Lin Yuan lived the life of a lazy bum he had always dreamed of. Every day, all he did was eat and sleep or immerse himself in virtual reality game pods, experiencing games he had never dared to imagine before. In stark contrast to his leisurely life, Lab Miracle 1 buzzed with relentless round-the-clock tension. Academician Wang and his team of top computer experts, physicists, and linguists were stumped by the blue data core. No good. Still no good. We've tried every known decoding algorithm and nothing works. A young doctor in charge of decryption scratched his thinning hair in frustration. This thing's storage method isn't the binary we understand. It's not zeros and ones, it's a mode of information storage based on spatial topology. Each of its information units isn't a simple voltage level, but a microscopic spatial fold. To read it, we first need to learn how to flatten these folds. This is no longer within the realm of computer science, it's high-energy physics. It's spatial geometry. The meeting room was shrouded in gloom. They were like primitive men wielding stone axes facing a supercomputer without even knowing where the power button was. Academician Wang stared at the hopelessly complex topological structure on the screen, feeling a deep sense of powerlessness. He and his team represented the brightest minds on the planet, yet before this cosmic scripture from the stars, they were like elementary school students just learning to write. Could there be a key? A linguist suddenly suggested. Any complex encryption system has a corresponding. We've been brute forcing it with exhaustive methods. Maybe our approach was wrong from the start. A key. Academician Wang's spirits lifted. You mean, I've studied Comrade Lin Yuan's oral report. He mentioned seeing many strange symbols and writings in the command cabin of that Oracle-class harvester ship. Could those be the key to deciphering this data core? This idea struck like lightning, clearing the fog in everyone's minds. Of course, they had been treating the data core as a purely technical product, overlooking the civilizational attributes it represented. All technology is rooted in its civilization's culture and language. Quick, summon Comrade Lin Yuan immediately. Academician Wang exclaimed excitedly. We need him. We need his eyes, the only ones to have seen that civilization firsthand. Half an hour later, Lin Yuan, who had been joyriding in a virtual sports car in his game pod, was escorted to Lab Miracle 1 by grim-faced guards. It was his first time entering the core area of this base. The lab was filled with equipment he couldn't comprehend and screens flickering with data. Academician Wang pulled him over to a massive holographic projection which displayed the microscopic structure of the data core. Shaolin, take a look at this, Academician Wang said, pointing at the complex spatial folds on the screen. We suspect we need a key to unlock it. A key? Lin Yuan looked bewildered. I don't have such a thing, not a physical key. Academician Wang urged. It's information. Clues. Think hard. Did you see any particular recurring patterns or symbols in the warship's command cabin? Lin Yuan frowned, searching his memory for that brief and perilous experience. The command cabin was chaotic, littered with shattered screens and instruments. But, wait. Yes. Lin Yuan's eyes lit up. I remember. On the main console where this data core was inserted, there was a symbol engraved. That symbol appeared in many places, on the seats, on the bulkheads. What kind of symbol? Quick, draw it. Academician Wang's voice trembled with excitement. Lin Yuan picked up an electronic pen and, relying on his memory, began to draw stroke by stroke on the drawing pad beside him. It was a peculiar symbol resembling an eye, but the pupil was a constantly rotating vortex composed of 3 spiral lines. When Lin Yuan finished the final stroke, every scientist in the lab staring at the drawing pad was stunned. Because that vortex of 3 spiral lines was identical to the macro energy field distribution map of the data core before them. So, that's how it is. Academician Wang muttered, looking at the symbol, and then at the energy field diagram, an unprecedented light blazing in his eyes. We've found the key. We've found the key to unlocking this treasure trove. Using the triple helix structure as the foundational algorithm for the singularity, construct an inverse topological analysis function. Hurry, divert all supercomputing center resources to me. At Academician Wang's command, the entire Miracle Laboratory, along with supercomputer centers nationwide, began operating frantically toward the same goal. The simple symbol drawn by Lin Yuan acted like a master key, instantly guiding the scientists who had been at an impasse toward a clear direction. They were no longer blindly brute-forcing the problem. Instead, they now possessed a definitive set of grammatical rules. Standing aside, Lin Yuan watched the scientists gesticulating excitedly over symbols and data he couldn't comprehend, feeling as though he belonged to an entirely different world. I just drew it casually. Is it really that big a deal? He whispered to Lina beside him. Since the last mission, Zhang Wei and Lina, the first field agents to have contact with him, had been reassigned as his personal liaisons and life assistants. Lina adjusted her glasses. She had now changed into a researcher's white coat, but her eyes remained sharp. Lin Yuan, you have no idea what you've drawn means. Her tone carried a hint of reverence. That's not a simple pattern, it's the Tao of a civilization. Tao. Lin Yuan was even more confused. You can think of it as the most fundamental logic and philosophy of a civilization, like the yin-yang taiji of our Chinese civilization or the cross of Western civilization. This triple helix is the core worldview of the Oracle civilization. All their technology, culture, and language are built upon this foundation. We were trying to interpret English articles using Chinese grammar. Of course, we couldn't understand it. And you directly gave us the English grammar book. Lin Yuan managed to grasp about 70 to 80% of Li Na's explanation. In essence, he was a cheater, directly handing the standard answers to these top students who were still painstakingly deciphering the questions. Decoding progress 5. 12. 31. On the main screen, a progress bar advanced slowly, yet with unwavering determination. With every percentage point gained, a suppressed cheer erupted in the command center. Lin Yuan, Chun Weigua, Academician Wang, and all core members remained in the laboratory, none leaving. Everyone knew they were witnessing history. Time ticked by. When the progress bar finally reached 99, the entire lab fell into a silence so profound that a pin drop could be heard. Everyone held their breath, staring intently at the nearly complete bar. 100. Decoding complete. Basic data packet successfully extracted. The moment those words appeared on the screen, after a brief silence, the entire laboratory erupted into thunderous applause and cheers. They had succeeded. They had pried open this treasure trove from the stars. Academician Wang and several white-haired old professors embraced each other, tears streaming down their aged faces. Even Chun Weiguo's perpetually icy face cracked into a genuine, irrepressible smile. He walked over to Lin Yuan and patted him firmly on the shoulder, saying nothing, but Lin Yuan felt the heavy weight of affirmation. Quick, classify and organize the extracted data. I want the first briefing in 10 minutes. Academician Wang wiped his tears and immediately plunged back into work. Countless streams of data refreshed on the screens like waterfalls. Report. Star map data extracted successfully. The Oracle Civilization star domain has been confirmed approximately 1.2 million light-years away at the edge of the Andromeda Galaxy. Report. Language database extracted successfully. We can now translate their writing. Report. The historical database is severely damaged. Less than 3 of fragments have been recovered. From the fragmented information, the Oracle Civilization was destroyed by a calamity they called Whispers of the Void. The description of this calamity highly matches our definition of void devourers. Information was reported rapidly, continuously challenging everyone's understanding. But the most crucial part was the data packet named Basic Technology Tree. When Academician Wang personally opened that data packet, everyone gasped. It wasn't the lines of code or design blueprints they had imagined. Instead, it was an unimaginably vast nebula-like radiant three-dimensional structural diagram. At the lowest level of this structure were over a dozen foundational scientific nodes emitting different lights, such as higher-dimensional spatial geometry, unified force field theory, the nature of matter and energy, and the entropy law of soul and information. Each name left the scientists present dizzy. These weren't foundational sciences, they were practically theology. From these foundational nodes, thousands of branches extended upward, forming an incredibly complex, yet harmonious technological network. My God, their materials science is built upon string theory and matter recombination technology. A materials scientist murmured, staring at one branch. They can edit materials like a program, arbitrarily combining any material they want from the most basic quark level. That blackboard of ours is just a basic defense unit to them. Look here, energy technology. Another physicist pointed at another node, his voice trembling. Extraction and application of vacuum zero-point energy. They have achieved infinite energy extraction from the vacuum. Controllable nuclear fusion probably looks as primitive to them as us burning firewood to boil water. And this warp drive. They have mastered the technology to warp space for faster-than-light travel. Our chemical fuel rockets are nothing but children's toys compared to them. Shock. Unprecedented shock. If that black armor plate had only given the scientists a glimpse of a mirror, then this complete technology tree now laid the entire divine kingdom bare before these mere mortals. Everyone fell silent. Not because they didn't want to speak, but because they were stunned into speechlessness by the immense chasm-like gap in civilization. It was an overwhelming pressure stemming from a difference in the very hierarchy of life. After a long while, academician Wang found his voice staring at the radiant divine tree on the screen with complex emotions. We are like Stone Age primitives who have found a smartphone, he said bitterly. We don't even know how to charge. Indeed, although the technology tree was laid before them, given Earth's current technological level, they could understand perhaps less than 1/10 of it. It was like handing a calculus textbook to a child who had just learned to count. This wasn't a gift, it was a test paper so daunting it was despairing. No. Just as everyone was sinking into a strange sense of loss and confusion, Chen Weigua slowly shook his head. His gaze fell upon an inconspicuous node at the very bottom of the technology tree, one everyone had overlooked. We may not understand the whole book, but at least we can read its table of contents. He pointed at the node and read the text aloud word by word. Oracle-class civilization, primary energy core design principles, and manufacturing process. Everyone's attention instantly focused on that node. This is the lowest level, most basic technology in the entire tree. Academician Wang's eyes lit up. And it's the only one that doesn't involve any higher dimensional physics or he frantically operated the controls and opened that node. A design blueprint and manufacturing process detailed to an astonishing degree appeared before everyone. It was a spherical device the size of a fist composed of hundreds of precision parts. What is this? Lin Yuan asked curiously. Academician Wang stared intently at the blueprint, his lips trembling as he replied in a dreamlike voice. This is a battery. An energy density 1,000,000 times that of our current top-tier lithium batteries. Stable output power, absolutely safe, and its raw materials only require sand, water, and the most common iron ore. We may not be able to build a warp drive or understand zero-point energy. Academician Wang suddenly turned around, looking at everyone present, his eyes blazing with unprecedented light, and roared word by word, but this thing, this primary energy core, we can build it. We can build it right now. We can build it. Academician Wang's words rang out like a thunderclap, shattering the silence of the laboratory. All the scientists who had been immersed in the despair of an insurmountable technological gap were instantly jolted back to reality, their faces alight with disbelief and ecstasy. Indeed, though they could not fathom the high-dimensional technology that seemed like a clash of gods, the primary energy core before them, what the Oracle civilization deemed a mere button cell, represented an energy revolution capable of upending everything for Earth. Its energy density was 1,000,000 times that of lithium batteries. This meant a core the size of a phone battery could power an electric vehicle to circle the Earth dozens of times. A core the size of a basketball could meet the entire year's electricity demand for a city of 1,000,000 people. And its raw materials were merely the cheapest sand, water, and iron ore. This meant energy would no longer be a scarce resource, but as abundant and inexhaustible as air and water. Quickly, establish the ARC project team immediately. Chen Weigua made the decision on the spot, understanding the strategic significance of this technology better than anyone. Transfer every top-tier material scientist, physicist, and engineer in our nation here. At all costs, 3 months. I give you only 3 months to produce the first prototype. Yes, sir. The entire scavenger base plunged into a frenzy of activity once more. Countless experts and scholars were urgently summoned from across the nation, throwing themselves into this unprecedented technological battle. And Lin Yuan, as the catalyst of it all, once again became the most idle person. Chen Weigua had ordered him to continue recuperating his daily tasks, limited to eating well and accompanied by Lin Na, familiarizing himself with the base's various facilities. One day he was strolling through the base's ecological garden. This garden perfectly simulated the surface's natural environment, complete with sunlight, grass, a stream, and even a few gentle cicada grazing leisurely. It's hard to believe there's a place like this thousands of meters beneath our feet, Lin Yuan remarked. It's for the mental well-being of long-term personnel, Lin Na explained, walking beside him. Prolonged confinement in an enclosed underground environment can easily trigger various psychological issues. So, how long do you plan to keep me here? Lin Yuan asked casually. Lin Na was silent for a moment, then looked at him seriously. Lin Yuan, you need to prepare yourself? Possibly. Forever. Lin Yuan's heart sank. Though he had anticipated it, hearing the answer aloud still filled him with a sense of loss. Forever. He gave a bitter smile. So for the rest of my life, I can only stay in this gilded cage. It's not a cage, it's an ark, Lin Yuan corrected. Director Chun said you are the torch of our civilization, and this place is the ark that protects that flame. Until our civilization becomes powerful enough to face the unknown threats from the cosmos, you must be absolute. Lin Yuan fell silent. He knew Lin Yuan was right. A man is innocent, but possessing a treasure is a crime. The system in his mind was that treasure. Until the nation could protect that treasure, hiding him away was the only choice. I understand. He nodded, letting go of the issue. He looked into the distance where academician Wang was engaged in heated discussion with a group of experts on an open area, various complex models and blueprints spread on the ground. What are they doing? Preliminary design of the arc reactor, Lin Yuan replied. Arc is the new name we've given to that primary energy core. Its principle is entirely different from all our existing energy technologies. It's not chemical energy nor nuclear energy, but a kind of spatial energy. Spatial energy. Yes. According to the Oracle civilization's theory, the space we inhabit itself contains vast amounts of energy. That arc reactor acts like a miniature pump, using a special resonant frequency to pump out the omnipresent energy in space and store it in a specially crafted crystalline structure. Lin Yuan's explanation left Lin Yuan utterly bewildered. I don't get it, he admitted, bluntly shaking his head. Just tell me, how awesome is this thing when it's built? Lin Yuan smiled and pointed to a massive structure under construction in the distance. See that? Yeah, what's that being built? Looks like a big tank. That's the first experimental platform for our Southern Gate plan, Lin Yuan said, her eyes gleaming. We plan to build a comprehensive space combat platform in low Earth orbit integrating early warning defense and attack capabilities. Before acquiring the arc reactor technology, this plan was estimated to take at least 50 years. We couldn't solve the energy supply problem in space. Neither solar panels nor nuclear reactors could support the high-intensity combat demands of such a massive... But now, Lin Yuan's voice grew excited. With the arc reactor, we can deploy high-energy laser cannons, electromagnetic railguns, and even space-based kinetic weapons on the platform. An arc reactor the size of a basketball can accelerate a tungsten rod to near light speed in seconds, striking ground targets from outer space. The energy it releases is comparable to a 10-megaton nuclear bomb with no radiation pollution whatsoever. Lin Yuan was stunned, speechless. Dropping an iron rod from space with the power of a nuclear bomb. What kind of godlike technology was this? The completion time for the Southern Gate plan, thanks to the arc reactor, will be slashed from 50 years to 5 years, Lin Yuan said, looking directly at Lin Yuan, enunciating each word. And all of this is because of you, Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan's heart swelled with immense pride and a sense of achievement. So without even realizing it, he had already done something so incredible. Time flew by. 3 months later, in the highest-level protective workshop of Miracle Laboratory 1, the first arc reactor sample crafted by human hands completed its final assembly. It was only the size of a fist with a sleek silver-white casing. At its core, a man-made blue crystal radiated a dreamlike glow. Chun Weiguo, academician Wang, and all the project's core members held their breath in the observation room awaiting the final test results. Reactor structure stable. Energy resonance frequency locked. Initiating initial energy injection to activate the reactor. At academician Wang's command, a faint electric current was injected into the reactor's core. The next second, the blue crystal erupted with a brilliance brighter than the sun. An invisible immense wave of energy instantly filled the entire workshop. All instruments blared with piercing overload alarms. Energy output. Off the charts. Our instruments can't measure its upper limit, a monitoring researcher reported, his voice trembling. We did it. We succeeded. Academician Wang, staring at the energy curve that shot straight off the screen, could no longer contain his emotions, laughing and crying like a child. They had done it. They had truly replicated this miracle from the starry sea with their own hands. Chun Weiguo clenched his fists tightly and immediately picked up the red encrypted phone beside him. Connect me to the Supreme Command Center. Reporting to the Chief, the Ark. Ignition successful. On the other end of the line, there was a full half-minute of silence. Then a dignified and excited voice came through. On behalf of the nation and the people, I thank you. From this day forward, the Southern Gate plan is fully operational. The Huaxia nation's journey toward the stars and the sea officially begins. The successful ignition of the arc reactor injected a surge of vitality into every member of the South. This meant they were no longer merely passive recipients gazing up at alien technology. They had truly gained the independent ability to generate their own blood. Though it was only the most fundamental form of hematopoiesis, this breakthrough from 0 to 1 was profoundly significant. Lin Yuan felt genuine joy for academician Wang and his team. Over these 3 months, he had witnessed firsthand how these venerable scientists burned their lives and intellect for a shared goal. Now his recuperation period was nearly over. After repeated assessments, the medical team confirmed that his physical and mental state had fully recovered to peak condition, even surpassing his previous level. Chen Weigua and academician Wang approached him again. Comrade Lin Yuan, how are you feeling? Chen Weigua asked in a routine manner. Reporting to the chief, I couldn't be better. If you don't let me get to work soon, I feel like you'll grow mold, Lin Yuan joked. Academician Wang smiled. Don't rush, work is coming. Your drone needs an upgrade. Lin Yuan's eyes lit up instantly. An upgrade? Great. I thought I'd have to repair it first after such severe damage. Repair and upgrade can proceed simultaneously. Academician Wang explained we've already sent the remaining piece of Oracle-grade armor material to the connection chamber. According to the system's requirements, this should be sufficient as the skeleton for repairs. As for energy, a hint of smugness crept onto Academician Wang's face. Guess how much we've prepared? He led Lin Yuan to a newly built warehouse. As the door opened, Lin Yuan was stunned by the sight before him. Inside the vast warehouse, thousands of fist-sized spheres emitting a blue glow were neatly stacked. These were the newly developed arc reactors. Here are 10,000 samples of the arc reactor, Academician Wang introduced proudly. Each one contains energy comparable to a small nuclear power plant. We've tested it. Your system can absorb the energy from the arc reactor. One reactor can provide approximately 500 energy points. Lin Yuan's mouth formed an O shape. 500 points each times 10,000. That's 5 million energy points. Jackpot. This was a true windfall. He felt like a pauper who had suddenly inherited a mountain of gold. Academician Wang, you guys are incredible. Lin Yuan exclaimed in genuine admiration. This is all thanks to you, Academician Wang said, patting him on the shoulder. Now that we have the energy and materials, how do you plan to upgrade your salvager for the next retrieval? This question plunged Lin Yuan into deep thought. He followed Academician Wang to the operations meeting room adjacent to the connection chamber. On the table, a holographic projection displayed the drone's upgrade options. Please select an upgrade. Direction A. Engine enhances speed and maneuverability. B. Stealth coating reduces the probability of detection by void devourers. C. Energy core increases energy capacity, extends retrieval time. D. Manipulator arm and payload enhances gripping force and maximum load. E. Scanning and detection improves scanning range and precision, unlocks new functions. F. Defense system increases energy shield or armor hardness compared to before. 2 new options had appeared. E. Clearly, with the drone's level increase and Lin Yuan's unlock permissions, more upgrade paths had become available. The meeting room was filled with heads of various departments. I recommend prioritizing F, the defense system. The head of the security department, a burly, stern-faced military officer, spoke first. Comrade Lin Yuan's safety is paramount. Wasn't the lesson from last time harsh enough? If the drone had sufficient defense, even just a basic energy shield, it wouldn't have been so severely damaged, and Comrade Lin Yuan wouldn't have nearly been sacrificed. His words garnered agreement from most present. I agree. Coming back alive is what matters most. The medical team leader nodded. I object. The head of the technical support department, a lean engineer with sharp eyes, offered a different opinion. Pure defense is useless. Facing a higher dimensional being like the Void Devourer, even the thickest turtle shell only makes the difference between being swallowed in 1 bite or 2. I believe we should upgrade B, stealth. As long as we're not detected, there's no danger. That's the fundamental way to survive. Stealth has already been upgraded once, but the effect was unsatisfactory. We were still found. The head of intelligence analysis countered, I think we should upgrade A, the engine. In the martial world, speed is the ultimate key. If we're fast enough, we can escape before the Void Devourer catches us. But what about the gravitational field we encountered last time? Speed is useless then. Then upgrade D, the manipulator arm and payload. We can grab larger objects, get higher returns per retrieval, and accumulate resources faster to max out all options. That's putting the cart before the horse. What's the use of hauling more if you're dead? The meeting room erupted into chaos once more. Everyone from their professional perspective believed their own plan was optimal. Chen Weigua remained silent, listening quietly. Finally, he turned his gaze to Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan, what's all eyes focused on Lin Yuan? He didn't answer immediately. Staring at the 6 options on the screen, his mind raced. Survival was indeed the top priority, so F and B had merit. Being fast was also a means of survival, so A made sense. Hauling more meant faster upgrades, so D was reasonable too. But Lin Yuan's gaze finally settled on an option that hadn't appeared before. E. Scanning and detection improves scanning range, and precision unlocks new functions. I choose E, Lin Yuan said slowly. His words silenced the entire meeting room in an instant. Everyone looked at him with puzzled expressions. Scanning and detection. It couldn't save lives, enable escape, or increase hauling capacity. To everyone, it seemed the most useless option. Lin Yuan, are you sure? Academician Wang frowned. This option has the lowest cost effectiveness at the current. No, Academician Wang. Lin Yuan shook his head, his eyes unusually clear. You've all overlooked the most. What issue? We know almost nothing about the cosmic graveyard or the void devourers, Lin Yuan said word by word. We're like hunters in a forest blindfolded. We don't know where the prey is, let alone where the tigers are. All our actions rely on luck. Last time finding the data core was luck. Escaping from the Void Devourer's jaws was also luck. But luck can't always be on our side. Upgrading defense. We don't know how thick a shield we need to withstand one hit. Upgrading stealth. We don't know how strong the invisibility must be to remain completely undetected. Upgrading speed. We don't know how fast an engine can escape its gravity. These are all using our weaknesses to clash with its strengths. We're passively taking hits. Lin Yuan's words plunged every expert present into deep thought. They realized that this junkyard owner with no advanced education saw the problem with a clarity and depth that surpassed even their top-tier expertise. So you mean? Academician Wang seemed to catch on. Know the enemy and know yourself, and you'll never be defeated. Lin Yuan quoted an old adage. What we lack most now isn't power, it's information. I need to see farther, see clearer. I need to know how the Void Devourer appears. What is its target-seeking mechanism? What kind of energy fluctuations is it most sensitive to? Are there any precursors before it shows up? I also need to know where high-value items are distributed. What's the environment around them like? Are there dangers other than the Void Devourer? Only by turning this dark cosmic graveyard into a map we can understand, filled with various information, can we truly seize the initiative. We can shift from gambling on luck to making plans. Lin Yuan stood up, his gaze sweeping over everyone present. So I choose E. I need a pair of brighter eyes. Only by seeing the path clearly can we go farther. The entire meeting room fell into dead silence. After a long moment, Chen Weiguo led a slow round of applause. Well said. His face showed undisguised admiration and praise. Let's do as Comrade Lin Yuan says. Upgrade E-scanning and detection. Command confirmed. Beginning repair and upgrade of Scavenger 1. Energy consumption 1500 points. Consuming rare structural material Oracle class Raider armor fragment 1. Select upgrade direction E. Scanning and detection. Energy consumption 1000 points. Upgrade commencing. After Lin Yuan made his decision, he immediately entered the connection chamber and placed the arc reactor from the warehouse along with the sole remaining black armor fragment onto the materialization platform. The system instantly absorbed their energy and matter. Within Lin Yuan's mind, the system interface began to transform at a dizzying speed. Repair complete. Upgrade complete. Scavenger drone has evolved to LV3. Scavenger 2 level LV3 energy reserve 2000 capacity, increased payload limit 100 kilograms, slightly increased stealth, low functions, basic grasping, wide area scanning, new energy, marking, new danger warning, new defense system, unlocked salvage zone 001 novice area, silent star C. 10 explored, new zone unlocked 002 ghost route. Gazing at the brand new system panel, both Lin Yuan and everyone in the command center were thrilled. We did it. The drone evolved to LV3. Its name changed from Scavenger 1 to Scavenger 2. Look at the functions. 3 new ones. Wide area scanning, energy marking, and danger warning. This is exactly what Comrade Lin Yuan envisioned. Academician Wang exclaimed, pointing excitedly at the screen. Lin Yuan meticulously studied these new capabilities. Wide area scanning consumes energy to conduct a large-scale scan of a designated sector, displaying the energy reaction intensity and approximate distribution of all wrecks within the area as a heat map. Energy marking allows marking of specific energy sources detected during scans, enabling continuous tracking on the map. Danger warning, a passive skill. When a high-threat target such as a Void Eater enters the scan range, the system will automatically issue an alert and predict its movement trajectory. Incredible. This is like evolving from naked eye to radar. Lin Yuan slapped his thigh in exhilaration. With this system, venturing into the cosmic graveyard would no longer be like groping in the dark. He could first illuminate the map with wide area scanning, then use energy marking to locate high-energy reaction points that resembled treasure chests, while danger warning kept watch for any monsters spawning. This salvaging experience was a qualitative leap. Not just the functions look. The energy capacity and payload have also increased. Lina Sharpie noticed the changes. The energy capacity had jumped from 200 to 2,000, a tenfold increase. The payload had also doubled from 50 kilograms to 100 kilograms. This shows that the drone's level is key to determining its base attributes. Each major level up brings comprehensive attribute growth. The head of the technical support department concluded immediately. More importantly, look at this. The head of intelligence analysis pointed at the last line of the panel. A new zone is unlocked. 002 Ghost Route. Everyone's hearts tightened. Does the system provide an introduction for the... Chen Weiguo asked promptly. Lin Yuan focused his mind, gazing upon the newly unlocked area. Salvage Zone 002 Ghost Route. Zone type Ancient Civilization Migration Route. Wreckage Zone Danger Level Medium. Zone characteristics. This area contains numerous wreckage of civilian ships that failed in their jumps. There is a probability of discovering intact living compartments or cargo holds. Simultaneously, the spatial structure is highly unstable with numerous natural spatial rifts and energy storms. Warning: Void Eaters are more active in this zone. Civilian ship wreckage. Living compartments. Cargo holds. Academician Wang's eyes lit up instantly. Military technology is too complex for us to grasp quickly, but civilian technology, especially involving basic materials biotechnology and living facilities, holds immense value for us. It might even be easier for us to understand and absorb. For instance, finding a complete food synthesizer would be a revolutionary contribution to solving the global food crisis. If they found a personal medical system, the average human lifespan could easily surpass 150 years. However, the danger level has also risen to medium. Chen Weiguo's expression was grave. Spatial rifts, energy storms, and more frequent void eaters. This ghost route sounds like no safe haven. We have two choices now. Chen Weiguo looked at the group. One is to continue developing in the 001 Novice Area Silent Star, C using the newly upgraded scanning functions to safely and efficiently clean up the Novice Zone's resources. The second is to enter a new hunting ground, challenge higher risks, and seek greater rewards. I recommend playing it safe. The security minister was the first to speak. We've just mastered the arc reactor technology, but we need time to digest and absorb it. Our strength is growing rapidly now. There's no need to take unnecessary risks. Let's clear the tutorial zone first. Once our equipment is fully upgraded, we can take on the new map without haste. His words were sensible and represented the thoughts of most. One must eat bite by bite and walk step by step. The technological tree of human civilization had just sprouted and needed a stable environment and time. However, Academician Wang shook his head. I disagree, he said in a grave tone. We don't have time. What do you mean? The others looked at him puzzled. Academician Wang's gaze swept over everyone present, finally resting on Lin Yuan. Shaolin, do you remember what you were cutting when you first activated the system? Lin Yuan paused, recalling. The bottom of an abandoned pressure vessel from an old factory. Correct. Academician Wang nodded, then brought up a file and projected it onto the screen. This is the result of our highest level investigation into that tank bottom afterward. We discovered that the tank bottom was no domestic product. Its material composition, though far inferior to Oracle-class armor, still surpassed Earth's current capabilities. We traced its origin and found it came from a meteorite that fell in an uninhabited area in northwestern China 30 years ago. That wasn't a meteorite. Academician Wang's tone became extremely solemn. It was a reconnaissance probe from an alien civilization. Before crashing, it transmitted a distress signal, or rather a positioning signal, to its home planet. After deciphering the Oracle civilization database, we compared the signal's format. It was a very aggressive, coordinate-marked universal distress signal. Its meaning was there is a habitable planet here, but we have encountered an unknown malfunction. Come for rescue or for cleanup. The entire meeting room fell into dead silence. A chill ran down everyone's spine from the soles of their feet to the crowns of their heads. Academician Wang, you mean? Chen Weiguo's voice was hoarse. Our coordinates have been exposed for 30 years. Academician Wang looked at everyone, enunciating each word. How far away the civilization that sent that signal is, or how fast their ships travel, we have no idea. They might never come, or they could appear behind the moon tomorrow. We don't have time to develop slowly. We must race against time, using every means possible to gain enough power to defend ourselves before they arrive. Therefore, I propose we immediately enter Zone 002, the ghost route. We need more advanced technology. We need greater strength. We need to take a gamble. Academician Wang's words, our coordinates have been exposed 30 years ago, fell like a massive boulder weighing tens of thousands of tons into the hearts of everyone in the conference room. The atmosphere, which had just been filled with excitement over the drone upgrades, froze instantly. A deathly silence. The silence was so profound that one could hear a pin drop. Everyone's eyes widened as they stared at the investigation report on the meteorite displayed on the screen, feeling a chill creeping up their spines, their scalps tingling. Wang. Academician Wang, what do you mean by that? The speaker was the head of the security department, a resolute soldier who had previously advocated for stability. At this moment, there was a tremor in his voice that he himself did not notice. It means exactly what it says. Academician Wang's expression was grave as he pointed to the decoded signal format on the screen. We found this signal in the database of the Oracle civilization with a corresponding template. It is a very ancient, universally used distress protocol for nearly all civilizations that venture into the stars. Its format is public, much like Morse code at sea. Its content is quite simple. The first half contains the identification code of the civilization in distress and the situation they are facing, while the latter half provides the spatial coordinates of the distress location. The coordinates of our Earth were broadcast 30 years ago. A gasp echoed throughout the conference room. Then, who are the civilization that sent the signal? How far are they from us? The intelligence analysis minister asked urgently. Academician Wang shook his head, a hint of bitterness on his face. I don't know. The probe was severely damaged upon crashing, and the information we can extract is very limited. The only thing we can be certain of is that their technological level is far beyond ours. Although it may not be as exaggerated as that of the Oracle civilization, it is definitely not something we can contend with at present. 30 years. 30 years. A young physicist muttered disorientedly. If their travel speed can reach sublight speed, even at 1/10 the speed of light, 30 years is enough to cross 3 light years. This realization weighed heavily on everyone. 3 light years may seem trivial on a cosmic scale, but for a civilization that hasn't even fully left the solar system, it represents an unimaginably vast distance and an insurmountable technological gap. The most critical issue is Chun Weiguo's voice, steady as a mountain, broke the suffocating silence. We do not know whether they are benevolent or malevolent. What does the last part of the distress signal come for rescue or cleanup mean? Academician Wang took over the conversation. In the sociological models of interstellar civilizations, this is a common practice. When an exploration team of a civilization encounters danger within the territory of a lower civilization, they simultaneously issue 2 commands. Rescue is directed to their home fleet, and cleanup is sent to the nearest allied or contracted civilization. Clean up what? Lin Yuan couldn't help but ask. Clean up the lower civilization that discovered their crash. Academician Wang looked at Lin Yuan, enunciating each word. To prevent their technology from leaking, to prevent that lower civilization from rising by utilizing their technology, becoming a future threat. The simplest and most definitive method is to physically erase it during the nascent stages of civilization on that planet. Damn! Lin Yuan couldn't help but curse. This was too sinister. It was like the dark forest theory of the universe. Running a junkyard and accidentally getting electrocuted, thinking he struck a windfall, only to find behind that windfall was a pit capable of obliterating the entire Earth. He felt a cold sweat soaking his back instantly. Previously, he thought being locked in this underground base and losing his freedom was somewhat of a loss. Now it seemed this was not a gilded cage, it was the safest Noah's Ark on Earth. The outside world could turn into a sea of fire at any moment. So the situation we are facing now is. Chun Weiguo surveyed the room, his voice carrying an undeniable resolve. We have a sword hanging over our heads, and we do not know when it will fall. We cannot continue to develop methodically. We must take a gamble. His gaze swept over the security minister, who advocated for stability, then to the other experts still hesitating. I agree with Academician Wang. We must immediately enter Area 002, the Phantom Route. We need more advanced technology, we need more powerful weapons. We need to possess the power to say no in the shortest time possible. But Director, the security minister could not help but stand up. The risks of this action are too high. Comrade Lin Yuan's safety is paramount. If anything happens to him in the Phantom Route, we will lose our last trump card. I still believe we should first utilize the newly upgraded scanning capabilities in the beginner zone to salvage everything we can. Once our Southern Skygate project gains some scale, we can consider entering new areas. Wait, can we afford to wait? Academician Wang rebutted excitedly. Even at the fastest pace, the Southern Skygate project will take 5 years. In 5 years, that alien fleet could make several round trips. We are racing against death. One misstep could lead to disaster. Once we are trapped in the cradle, we will have no chance to turn the tide. This is too risky. We cannot put all our eggs in one basket. If we don't take risks, we can only sit back and pray that the other side is a pacifist. How likely do you think that is? The conference room erupted into chaos once again. This time the focus of the debate was no longer on technical routes, but on the survival strategy of the entire civilization. Should they choose to advance steadily step by step, but potentially miss the final time window? Or should they take a gamble, putting everything on the line for a slim but hopeful future? This was an incredibly difficult choice. Everyone's gaze eventually converged on Chun Weiguo and Lin Yuan. One was the highest decision-maker the other was the sole executor of the project. Chun Weiguo said nothing. He simply stared quietly at Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan felt the weight of all the gazes upon him, filled with hope, worry, and doubt, pressing heavily on his shoulders. His mind was a chaotic mess. To go or not to go? Entering the Phantom Route had a danger level of medium, with spatial rifts and energy storms that sounded anything but easy to handle. Not to mention that the Void Devourer appeared even more frequently. The last time in the beginner zone, he was almost finished, and now heading to a more dangerous place felt like sticking his head into a noose. But what if he didn't go? Just thinking that 30 years ago an alien spaceship had crashed right at his doorstep and broadcast their coordinates sent Lin Yuan into a state of unease. It was like living in a neighborhood where one suddenly discovers that a murderer had scouted the area 30 years ago, even drawing a map, and could show up at any time. Could he still sit comfortably at home? There was nowhere to run, the entire Earth was home. The only option was to arm himself to the teeth before that murderer came knocking. Forget about kitchen knives, he needed to find a way to get a machine gun or rocket launcher. Suddenly his thoughts became clear. The Phantom Route was dangerous, but it also resembled an arsenal. Civilian technology, living modules, cargo holds. These may not sound as impressive as warships, but as academician Wang said, these technologies are easier for Earth to absorb and transform. Perhaps salvaging a food synthesizer would allow the country to stop worrying about food issues and allocate more resources to the military. Salvaging a medical pack could extend the lives of scientists, allowing them to contribute for several more decades. This all equates to real combat power. Lin Yuan took a deep breath, facing everyone's gaze, and slowly stood up. I'm in. His voice was not loud, but it was incredibly firm. Academician Wang is right, we have no time left. Waiting at home for death is not my style. I am a scavenger, and my life philosophy is take a gamble, turn a bicycle into a motorcycle. If we don't gamble now, we might not even have a bicycle left. He looked at Chun Weiguo, his eyes no longer filled with apprehension, replaced by a fierce determination, forged from desperation. Sir, give the order. When do we set off? I can be ready at any time. Seeing the light in Lin Yuan's eyes, Chun Weiguo nodded approvingly. He had not misjudged this person. This young man emerging from the junkyard possessed an indomitable spirit and the courage to fight. This was exactly what they needed right now. Good. Chun Weiguo slammed the table, standing up and surveying the room. Order. Everyone instinctively straightened their bodies. The scavenger project is now in wartime status. All departments, all personnel cancel all leave and remain on standby for 24 hours. The Intelligence Analysis Department immediately formulate at least 3 salvage plans based on the known information of the Phantom route within 24 hours. Quantify and assess all potential risks we might encounter. The Technical Support Department upgrade the deep dive neural interaction system again. I want to ensure Comrade Lin Yuan's absolute safety during the connection process. The Logistical Support Department will start hourly monitoring of Comrade Lin Yuan's physical and mental state. Ensure he enters the next operation in optimal condition. All departments mobilize fully for the next salvage operation. This time we are not going on an adventure, we are going to war. We are fighting a battle for the survival of our civilization, a war we cannot afford to lose. Chun Weiguo's voice echoed in the conference room, resonating with conviction. Target, Area 002, Phantom Route. With the command issued, the vast and intricate machinery of the state began to operate at full speed, centered around the new objective, the Ghost Route. The atmosphere was starkly different from before. If the previous 2 salvage operations had carried an air of excitement and curiosity, a thrill for exploring the unknown and unearthing treasures, then this time a heavy solemnity weighed on everyone's faces. The coordinates exposed 30 years ago hung like a sword of Damocles over each person's head. Time had become both the most precious resource and the greatest enemy. Lin Yuan once again became the focal point of the entire base, but this time he was no longer a mascot to be revered, he was truly regarded as the ace pilot about to embark on a mission. He was required to attend every operational meeting. The conference room adjacent to the connection chamber had been transformed into a 24-hour, brightly lit combat command center. According to the information provided by the system, the first keyword for the Ghost Route is Ancient Civilization Migration Route Relic. The head of the Intelligence Analysis Department stood before a massive holographic star map, briefing the core members present. On the map, a faint river composed of countless points of light cut across a dark expanse of space. Migration implies a civilian route, not a military one. So Academician Wang's judgment is correct. The probability of finding high-value military technology here is low, but the likelihood of discovering intact civilian facilities is extremely high. The second keyword is jump failure. The director's fingers swept across the densely packed points of light on the star map. We speculate that the civilization along this route encountered a unified catastrophic disaster during their large-scale migration. This caused their fleet to disintegrate collectively during the jump, forming the debris field we see now. Could it be the Void Devourer? Lin Yuan couldn't help but ask. Highly possible, the director nodded. But it could also be other causes. For instance, the third keyword, spatial fissures and energy storms. He marked several areas glowing with dangerous red light on the star map. These are the natural spatial hazards described in the system. Spatial fissures we interpret as unstable micro-wormholes. Approaching them could lead to being pulled into unknown dimensions or torn apart by immense tidal forces. Energy storms might be eruptions of high-energy particle streams powerful enough to destroy any unprotected spacecraft. Your Scavenger 2 has been upgraded, but it still lacks any defensive systems. Therefore, during the operation, these red zones must be strictly avoided. Lin Yuan stared at the complex star map, a chill creeping into his heart. This damned place was a minefield. Dangers lurked everywhere. However, the good news is the director shifted his tone, a faint smile appearing on his face. Your Scavenger 2 gives us an unprecedented advantage. He brought up the list of the drone's new functions. Wide area scanning and hazard warning. These 2 features seem tailor-made for the Ghost Route. With wide area scanning, we can pre-draw a heat map of safe zones identifying debris areas with stable energy reactions and far from spatial hazards. Then the hazard warning function provides us with a valuable early warning window to deal with any void devourer that might appear at any moment. Our intelligence analysis department has worked through the night to formulate 3 preliminary salvage plans. The director switched the screen and 3 routes in different colors appeared on the star map. Plan A: Edge Exploration. We operate only on the outermost periphery of the ghost route. Here debris density is lowest, space is most stable, and the probability of encountering danger is minimal. However, the chance of finding high-value items is also the lowest. This is the safest option. Plan B: Key Strike. Based on the results of the wide area scan, we directly lock onto a target that appears to have the highest value and strongest energy reaction. Then we plan the shortest route for you to pounce on the target, grab the loot, and get out. This plan offers the highest potential reward, but also the greatest risk, as high-energy reactions also attract void devourers. Plan C: Area Sweep. We select a relatively safe middle zone for you to conduct a carpet-style scan and salvage. We won't advance deeper until this area is cleared. This plan takes the longest time, but maximizes resource utilization and helps us build the most comprehensive database. Each of the 3 plans had its pros and cons. The meeting room fell into discussion again. "I choose Plan A," the head of the security department said without hesitation. "The first time entering a new area, we must prioritize reconnaissance. Our understanding of the ghost route is still only theoretical. We need to feel out its nature first." An engineer from the technical department countered. "Plan A is too conservative. We don't have the time for slow probing. I recommend Plan B. Great rewards come with great risks. What we need most right now is technology that can be immediately converted into combat power. Plan B is too much of a gamble. What if that high-energy target is a trap? What if a void devourer is lurking right next to it? That's why I say Plan C is the most suitable." Lin Yuan did not join their debate. He simply looked at the star map, his mind simulating the scene of him piloting the drone into that unknown region. He was someone who liked to keep control in his own hands. All 3 plans were good, the results of the experts' careful deliberation. But they all shared one commonality: predetermination. Yet on the battlefield, situations change in an instant. No perfect plan can keep up with the changes. "I have an idea." Lin Yuan's voice instantly silenced the noisy meeting room. Everyone looked at him. After the last discussion on upgrade directions, no one dared to underestimate the junk station owner's intuition and strategic vision. "I think these 3 plans can be combined," Lin Yuan said, pointing at the star map. "Howie, Chenweigui, we go in first. Following Plan A, you'll fly a lap in the outermost safe zone to get used to the new environment and test the Scavenger 2's performance. Then you'll conduct the first wide area scan. We'll use the results to verify our assumptions about this area. If the scan results are close to our expectations, we'll switch to Plan C, find a zone that looks rich in resources yet relatively safe, and start the sweep. During the sweep, if we find a target of exceptionally high value like the data core last time that we can't afford to miss, we'll immediately switch to Plan B and devise a quick in-and-out strike plan." Lin Yuan paused, then summarized, "Simply put, we enter with Plan A, use Plan C as our standard procedure, and keep Plan B as a contingency for special situations. We don't preset targets, we let the battlefield itself tell us how to fight." His words left the experts stunned. They had racked their brains designing various complex models and contingencies. Yet in a few sentences, Lin Yuan had linked all the plans together, forming a more flexible and practical operational strategy. This line of thinking was filled with a certain pragmatic wisdom. Not dogmatic, not reckless, but adaptive. "Excellent." Academician Wang was the first to applaud. "This line of thinking is excellent. This is the true scavenger mindset. We can't just engage in armchair strategy in the command room. We must trust the judgment of those on the front line." A look of approval also appeared on Chun Weiguo's face. Lin Yuan's growth was faster than he had imagined. He possessed not only courage, but also intellect. "Let's proceed with Comrade Lin Yuan's approach." Chun Weiguo made the final decision. All departments based on this approach immediately refined the operational details. Technical support department run the stress tests on the Pangas system and the deep dive neural interface system one last time. Ensure everything is foolproof. "Yes, sir." The meeting adjourned, and Lin Yuan was led by Li Na to his dedicated connection chamber. In the center of the room, the silver-white cockpit seat had been modified again. The surrounding mechanical arms were more numerous and complex. The headrest of the seat was now equipped with a brand-new helmet-like device. "This is the latest neural signal buffer module," Li Na explained. "It can filter out over 90 of redundant mental shocks. This means even if the drone suffers a fatal blow, like last time, the mental backlash fed back to your brain will feel like at most a pinprick." Lin Yuan touched the sleek helmet, feeling much more at ease. This device was his greatest confidence for daring to risk his life on the ghost route. And this, Li Na handed him a form-fitting black combat suit. "This is a biomonitoring suit. It can monitor every subtle change in your body in real time. Wearing it will allow the medical team to better track your condition." Lin Yuan took the suit. It felt smooth and cool to the touch, exuding a sense of technology. He looked at everything before him, at the entire state machinery running at full speed for him alone, and a surge of indescribable pride welled up in his heart. Damn, it's worth it, he thought to himself. Living like this in this life, even if I die tomorrow in that godforsaken cosmic graveyard, it's enough. Don't worry, Lina. He turned to her with a grin, flashing a row of white teeth. This time I'll bring back an even bigger treasure for you all. Comrade Lin Yuan, are you ready? A calm voice from Chun Weigua came through the headset. Lin Yuan sat in the silver-white cockpit wearing a form-fitting biosensor suit as the cool helmet slowly descended over his head. Report, Commander, ready to depart at any time. His voice came through the helmet's microphone, clear and composed. After months of recovery and training, he was no longer the nervous little junkyard owner who would sweat profusely during his first connection. He was now the sole special liaison officer for the scavenger project. Good. All units, attention, operation codename set sail, now commencing. Countdown 10-9-8. Lin Yuan closed his eyes, expelling all distractions from his mind, his spirit highly focused. 3-2-1. Connect. Buzz. The familiar sensation of detachment returned, but this time it felt entirely different. No dizzying spins, no nausea. His consciousness soared as if riding in a silent, ultra-fast elevator, instantly elevated to an entirely new dimension. When he opened his eyes again, the sight before him took his breath away. This was the Phantom route. Unlike the pure dead silence of the Silent Star, this was a chaotic yet lively cosmic wreckage. Countless gigantic shattered ship hulls lay like a frozen river winding towards an unknown distance. The style of these wrecks was entirely different from the aggressive Oriclus-class raider he had encountered last time. Most had smooth lines and large viewing windows, clearly civilian vessels. Some hulls still bore huge torn gaps, as if they had been gnawed by some unseen giant beast. Others appeared as if melted by high temperatures, solidifying into bizarre shapes. Amidst these wrecks there were hints of even more dangerous elements. In the distance, a massive aurora-like curtain of light was gently drifting. That was the energy storm. It looked beautiful, but Lin Yuan knew that if he got caught in it, his little drone wouldn't last even a second. In other areas, the space exhibited an unnatural distortion, like shattered glass. That was the spatial rift. They were silent, yet deadlier than any overt enemy. Damn. This place has a nice view, but it's a bit deadly. Lin Yuan mentally complained. Comrade Lin Yuan, how do you feel? How is the status of Scavenger 2? The voice of Academician Wang in the command center sounded somewhat anxious. Feeling good, Academician Wang. The drone is in good condition, energy reserves at 2,000 points, fully charged. Lin Yuan replied while skillfully maneuvering Scavenger 2 through the massive wreckage, performing various actions. The upgraded drone was evidently more agile than before, with a faster engine response. On the massive screen in the command center, the 3D image simulated by Lin Yuan's brainwave signals, though still blurry, was already able to clearly showcase the spectacular, yet dangerous scenery of the Phantom route. The scientists present were mesmerized. Incredible. Is this the graveyard of a high-level civilization's migration fleet? Look at the design of those hulls. Their aesthetics are completely different from ours, emphasizing streamlining and integration with the environment. Remember to record the parameters of those spatial rifts. This has a measurable value for our research in spatial physics. Chun Weigua ignored the excited scientist, his gaze fixed on Lin Yuan's vital signs data. Comrade Lin Yuan, according to Plan A, begin peripheral exploration. Don't rush, safety first. Understood. Lin Yuan acknowledged, controlling the drone as it began to slowly fly along the designated route at the outermost area of the Phantom route. He resembled a cautious player just entering a new map, observing his surroundings while familiarizing himself with his entirely new character skills. He attempted to approach a seemingly smaller shipwreck. Scanning. Target Dawn-class medium cargo shipwreck. Energy response extremely low, structural integrity low. Analysis. This ship disintegrated during the jump. Cargo hold fully exposed, no valuable items found. As expected, just junk. Lin Yuan pouted. He continued to fly forward. This peripheral area resembled the suburbs of a city, scattered with bits of construction debris, occasionally revealing some larger ship hulls, all of which were opened up and completely empty inside. It seems that the good stuff lies deeper. Lin Yuan thought to himself. Comrade Lin Yuan, test the wide area scan function. Academician Wang's voice came through. All right. Lin Yuan stopped the drone, opened the system interface, and selected the new function. Wide area scan. Please select scan sector and scan depth. A radar-like sector scan box appeared in his. Academician Wang, how do I select this? Sector angle 30 degrees, depth. Let's set it to 10 astronomical units for now. This is the best balance point we calculated for energy consumption and scan efficiency. Receive. Lin Yuan set the parameters as instructed and then selected confirm scan. Beginning wide area scan. Energy consumption 100 points. Buzz. An invisible, undetectable wave radiated from Scavenger 2, sweeping across the vast star domain ahead. In the next moment, Lin Yuan's field of vision was covered by a brand new image. It was a gigantic three-dimensional. On this map, all objects within the entire sector were marked in different colors according to the intensity of their energy responses. The vast majority of wreckage was represented by the cold blue color of no value. A few larger wrecks displayed faint green. Amidst these blue and green light points, there were some extremely dangerous red points representing high-energy reactors. Those were the spatial rifts and energy storms. Aside from that, the entire area was eerily clean. No orange or gold points which represented high value were found. More importantly, no moving black shadows representing void eaters were found. Scanning results have been synchronized to the command center. Data is being analyzed. So clear, it's like we've turned on the full map hack. The experts in the intelligence analysis department within the command center were so excited they stumbled over their words while looking at the clear heat map. With this map, they could plan a safe route to the treasure as precisely as performing surgery, perfectly avoiding all minefields. Lin Yuan, well done. Academician Wang exclaimed excitedly. Now we are no longer blind. Lin Yuan's heart was also filled with excitement. He knew that from this moment on, scavenging would transform from a life-or-death gamble into a calculable plannable science. Academician Wang, the scanning results are out. There truly isn't anything of value in the peripheral area. Can we proceed inward? Lin Yuan asked tentatively. He was already a bit impatient to see what treasures lay hidden in the depths of this fan. In the command center, after a brief yet efficient discussion, Chen Weigua quickly made a decision. Approved. Advance toward the 002 Gamma area according to Plan C. The wreckage density there is moderate, and according to the scan results, no high-risk spatial anomalies were found. Received. Lin Yuan's spirit lifted as he controlled Scavenger 2, changing direction and accelerating toward the area marked as Gamma on the heat map. The drone weaved skillfully among the massive wreckage, the once ominous darkness now clear under the guidance of the wide area scan. About half an hour later, he arrived in the Gamma area. The wreckage here was noticeably larger and more intact than in the peripheral region. He even saw a sightseeing cruise ship almost retaining its complete shape, resembling a city garden. The enormous dome was already shattered, but he could still see withered trees and collapsed pavilions floating. Initiate another wide area scan. Adjust depth to 5 astronomical units. Yes. Lin Yuan activated the scan again. This time the results of the heat map left everyone breathless. Less than 1 astronomical unit away, a bright point emitting an enticing orange glow appeared prominently on the heat map. That glow was several times brighter than the combined green glows of all the surrounding wreckage. High energy response. High-value target detected. Coordinates locked. Preliminary analysis underway. Target volume is massive, structure relatively intact. It appears to be an ultra-large ocean freighter. Freighter. Lin Yuan and academician Wang exchanged glances, both seeing 4 words reflected in each other's eyes. Jackpot. An ultra-large ocean-going cargo ship. The director of the intelligence analysis department stared at the dazzling orange that on the screen, his voice brimming with barely contained excitement. Based on the intensity of the energy reaction and the volume estimation, the tonnage of this cargo ship is at least 50 times that of a Dawn-class freighter. Moreover, its structure is relatively intact, which means its cargo hold is likely still sealed. This speculation instantly ignited the atmosphere in the entire command center. A sealed cargo hold. On a giant freighter laden with alien civilization supplies, what did a sealed cargo hold signify? It could be an entire hold of rare materials unheard of on Earth. It could be an entire hold of high-tech equipment beyond the current era. It could even be an entire hold of perfectly preserved, alien biological specimens. Regardless of which, for the fledgling Earth civilization, it represented an incalculable treasure trove. This is like a super treasure chest, a young researcher exclaimed excitedly. Switch to Plan B immediately. An engineer from the technical department promptly suggested, plot the shortest route and charge straight in. Seize it. No, that's too risky. The security chief poured cold water on the idea. Have you forgotten the theory that the scent of blood attracts sharks? Such a powerful energy reaction is like lighting a 10,000-watt searchlight in the dark. There must be danger around it. His concerns tempered the excitement of the crowd. Indeed, based on past experience, high-value items were often accompanied by high risks. Comrade Lin Yuan used the energy mark function to lock onto that target. Then activate the hazard warning system to conduct focused surveillance on the area around it. Chen Weigua issued the command calmly. Understood. Lin Yuan immediately applied the energy mark function to the orange dot on the system interface. Target marked unknown model ultra-large cargo ship, high energy reaction. A conspicuous orange crosshair appeared on the dot, flashing continuously in Lin Yuan's field of vision. Next, he adjusted the monitoring range of the hazard warning to a spherical area with a radius of 1 astronomical unit centered on the cargo ship. Having done all this, everyone held their breath, staring fixedly at the screen. 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. The warning system remained silent. On the thermal map, aside from the alluring orange dot and a few scattered blue dots representing space debris, there was nothing unusual. No spatial rifts, no energy storms, and certainly no dark shadows signifying death. All clear. Could it be? We got lucky. There's no monster spawn next to this treasure chest. Impossible. When things are too abnormal, there must be a trick. Something's off. The command center was once again divided into two factions. One faction believed this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that must be seized immediately. The other believed it was too abnormal and likely a trap. Lin Yuan, what's your take? Chen Weiguo once again posed the question to Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan remained silent. He simply maneuvered the Scavenger 2 to several different angles and performed 2 more wide-area scans of the region. The results of all 3 scans were identical. Safe, too calm. So calm it was unsettling. Lin Yuan furrowed his brow. His intuition as a junkyard owner told him that nothing fell from the sky for free. Even if it did, it wouldn't be a perfectly intact super freighter sitting here, so conspicuously with not even a decent danger around it. That defied logic. I think something's not right, Lin Yuan said slowly. It's too clean. This area is unclean. Academician Wang was taken aback. What do you mean? Look, Lin Yuan pointed to the area around the cargo ship on the holographic star map. Other places have some small ship fragments, the blue dots on the thermal map. But around this cargo ship, within a range of 1 astronomical unit, there's almost nothing. It's like it's been vacuumed clean. Prompted by Lin Yuan, everyone noticed the detail they had overlooked. That area was indeed completely empty. What does that suggest? It suggests something has eaten all the garbage in this area, Lin Yuan said, his voice dry. His words sent a chill down everyone's spine. What else could eat ship fragments besides a void devourer? But why didn't the warning system alert us? The intelligence analysis director questioned. Isn't the hazard warning supposed to detect void devourers in advance? Maybe. It's not there right now. It just uses that place as its dining hall left after eating, but might come back anytime, Lin Yuan speculated. There's another possibility. The head of technical support proposed a more terrifying hypothesis with a grave expression. Maybe that void devourer has hidden itself in a way we can't comprehend. For instance, it has merged with the cargo ship. This hypothesis made everyone's scalp tingle. If the cargo ship that looked like a treasure chest was itself a bait disguised by the void devourer, then sending Lin Yuan over now would be like offering a piece of meat right into the crocodile's mouth. We can't go. Absolutely not. The security chief declared firmly. The risk level has exceeded our tolerance. I suggest we abandon this target immediately and search for another. This time no one refuted him. Everyone was terrified by that dreadful hypothesis. Yet Lin Yuan stared intently at the orange dot, his eyes flickering. Abandon it. Just give up on a super freighter so close at hand, potentially laden with countless treasures. He couldn't resign himself to it. The gambler's instinct deep within him surfaced once again. I think we can probe a bit more, Lin Yuan suddenly spoke. How? Academician Wang asked. Don't we have plenty of arc reactors? Each one provides 500 energy points. Lin Yuan said, a glint of cunning in his eyes. When the system absorbs energy, does it produce energy fluctuations? It does. Academician Wang immediately caught on, his eyes lighting up. I see. You want to toss a bomb over there to lure it out? Exactly. Lin Yuan slapped his thigh. I don't have to go there myself. I can have the system directly absorb the energy of an arc reactor from a safe distance. If a void devourer is really hiding there, such a massive energy fluctuation will surely provoke a reaction. If there's no reaction, then maybe there's no real danger. We're just scaring ourselves. This idea brightened everyone's eyes. Using an arc reactor as bait to probe an unknown danger. The cost was significant, but compared to Lin Yuan's safety and the potential value of the super freighter, it was perfect. Excellent plan. Chen Weiguo made a prompt decision. Let's do it. Logistics team, prepare an arc reactor immediately and send it to the materialization platform. Yes, sir. Soon a sphere emitting a blue glow was carefully placed by a robotic arm onto the materialization platform beside Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan took a deep breath, maneuvering the Scavenger 2 far back to a safe zone, a full 5 astronomical units away from that clean area. At that distance, even if the void devourer was lured out, he would have enough time to react and escape. Ready, Lin Yuan said in a low voice. Begin. Chen Weiguo's voice carried a hint of tension. Lin Yuan closed his eyes and mentally issued the command to the system. System, absorb the energy of this arc reactor. Detected high purity energy source. Confirm. Yes. The next second, the blue sphere beside Lin Yuan burst into blinding radiance. A vast pure energy began to be frantically absorbed by the system. Simultaneously, in the cosmic graveyard, the area where the Scavenger 2 was located generated a violent spatial ripple due to this sudden energy transfer. This ripple, like a stone cast into a calm lake, rapidly spread outward. Everyone stared fixedly at the hazard warning system and the thermal map. 1 second, 2 seconds, Just as the energy absorption reached its midpoint, a sudden change occurred. Beep, 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 beep. A piercing, urgent alarm blared throughout the command center. Hazard warning. Hazard warning. Behind the target cargo ship. A rapidly forming spatial anomaly has appeared. The intelligence analysis director pointed at the screen, his voice trembling. On the thermal map behind the orange cargo ship, at a point that was previously empty, a tiny black vortex had suddenly appeared. That vortex was expanding at a visible speed. An aura more terrifying and pure than any they had encountered before. An aura representing devouring and finality emanated from that vortex. It's here. It's the Void Devourer. It was really hiding there. We lured it out. The command center erupted in uproar. Everyone felt a wave of terror. If they had recklessly charged in earlier, the consequences would have been unimaginable. Lin Yuan was also drenched in cold sweat. Staring at the ever-expanding black vortex, he had only one thought. Damn it, these sneaky bastards. It's out. We've actually lured it out. In the command center, Academician Wang stared at the expanding black vortex on the screen, his face a mixture of lingering fear and exhilaration. What terrified him was how close they had come to stepping into a deadly trap. What excited him was that Lin Yuan's strategy had succeeded. For the first time, they had confirmed the existence and location of the Void Devourer without direct contact. Quick, record all its data. Academician Wang shouted at the assistants beside him. Energy fluctuations, spatial parameters, formation process. Every detail. Leave nothing out. This is the first time we've observed the Void Devourer's manifestation process with such clarity. The scientists immediately scrambled into action, their hands flying over the controls. Lin Yuan, meanwhile, was already maneuvering the scavenger no. 2-inch to retreat another 2 astronomical units without a second's hesitation. No way was he taking any chances. That thing was the Void Devourer, and no distance felt far enough. He watched as the black vortex swelled from a single point into a mouth large enough to swallow a small. It had no fixed form, like a living, writhing mass of darkness. The space around it warped grotesquely in its presence, light itself bending as it passed by. Then the mass of darkness began to move. Slowly. Its target was not Lin Yuan's direction, but the ultra-large cargo ship that had served as the treasure chest bait. Before the stunned eyes of everyone present, the black nothingness glided like a phantom, silently closing in on the mountain-like cargo vessel. There was no collision, no explosion. The moment the ship's sturdy hull, forged from an unknown alloy, touched the darkness, it began to melt and vanish silently, like snow meeting a red-hot iron. A massive, smooth gap appeared in the hull. Then the gap grew larger and larger. The colossal cargo ship, rivaling a small city in size, was being conceptually erased bit by bit under the gnawing of the Void Devourer. This scene was projected clearly before everyone in the command center through the simulation feed. A collective shiver ran down their spines, a chill settling deep in their bones. What principle is this? Is the law of conservation of mass invalid before it? A physicist murmured in a daze. It's not destroying matter, it's annihilating the very concept of its existence. Academician Wang said, his expression graver than ever. This is an attack method from a higher dimension completely beyond our comprehension. Lin Yuan watched the scene, his heart pounding with terror. He was now 100% certain that his little drone, even if he slapped that blackboard from before all over it, his armor would be no sturdier than paper against this thing. A direct confrontation was absolutely out of the question. The Void Devourer devoured the cargo ship with alarming speed. In just over 10 minutes, the massive vessel vanished without a trace, not even a fragment left behind. After finishing its main course, the black shadow seemed unsatisfied. It circled in place as if searching for its next target. Then its gaze abruptly snapped toward the source of the earlier energy fluctuation, Lin Yuan's. Though Lin Yuan had retreated to a great distance, the terror of being locked onto by an apex predator seized him instantly, a dread that pierced to the very core of his soul. Holy shit. It's looking this way. Lin Yuan's heart lurched. Alert. The Void Devourer has locked onto our position. Approaching at high speed. The piercing alarm in the command center blared once more. On the screen, the black dot representing death was hurtling toward Lin Yuan's location along a long trajectory at a terrifying velocity. Return. Return immediately. Chun Weigua issued the order without hesitation. This mission was a probe, not a decisive battle. Since they had successfully lured out the enemy and uncovered the trap, there was no need to engage further. Copy that. Lin Yuan didn't hesitate for a moment, silently chanting in his mind, return. Initiating return procedure. 3 seconds required for spatial positioning. 3. The black shadow was drawing ever closer. Lin Yuan could even see countless anguished human faces wailing within its twisted interior. 2. A familiar pulling force came from behind. Though the distance was greater this time, the Void Devourer's speed seemed even faster than before. The drone's energy reserves began to plummet again. 19002000 inch, 17502000, 15002000. Hold on. Neural signal buffer module activated. Comrade Lin Yuan's vital signs are stable. No signs of significant mental backlash. In the command center, the voices of the technical staff and medical team rang out tense but orderly. Lin Yuan felt only a mild sting in his head like a mosquito bite, a world of difference from the previous sensation of his skull about to explode. This new helmet is badass, he praised inwardly. 1. Return successful. Just as the shadow was about to touch the drone, a flash of white light erupted, and Lin Yuan's consciousness was instantly pulled back into the seat of the connection chamber. The helmet slowly rose, revealing his face, pale but brimming with excitement. Phew. I'm back. He let out a long breath. After a brief silence, the entire command center erupted into a cathartic cheer. We did it. We escaped the Void Devourer's trap unscathed. Comrade Lin Yuan, well done. Chen Weigua and academician Wang hurried over. How do you feel? Any discomfort? Chen Weigua asked with concern. Reporting to the chief, I feel great. Lin Yuan stood up from the seat, stretching his limbs. Just a tiny sting in my head like a tickle. Your equipment is incredible. His words drew proud smiles from everyone in the technical support division. Excellent. Excellent. Academician Wang clapped Lin Yuan firmly on the shoulder. You've made a great contribution. Not only did you neutralize a deadly trap for us, but you also brought back the most valuable first-hand observational data on the Void Devourer. Based on the data analysis, we've reached a preliminary conclusion. The head of intelligence analysis said, his face also alight with post-crisis excitement. The Void Devourer seems to have no fixed physical form. It's more like the embodiment of a spatial phenomenon. Normally, it likely lies dormant in specific spatial nodes. When it senses a sufficiently strong energy fluctuation, it gets activated and emerges from that spatial node to haunt. Detonating the arc reactor just now was like setting off a firecracker right by its bedside, jolting it away. This explanation made everything click for Lin Yuan. So, as long as we don't make too much noise, it won't come out. In theory, yes. Or rather, as long as our energy fluctuations don't exceed a certain threshold, we won't disturb it, the chief nodded. Determining that threshold is the key subject of our next research. The cargo ship was likely targeted because it was parked right on a spatial node, allowing the Void Devourer to use it as its lair and camouflage. Damn, that's insidious, Lin Yuan cursed. But we haven't come away empty-handed either. Academician Wang smiled. Though that big treasure chest was a trap, while analyzing the scan data, we found a very interesting target in another direction. He pulled up the wide-area thermal scan from earlier and pointed to a faint green that almost drowned out by other blue lights about 3 astronomical units away in another direction. Here we found a wreck with a very stable energy reaction, but an oddly unique structure. He zoomed in on the a small battered ship only about a third the size of an ordinary cargo vessel appeared on the screen. Its exterior was unremarkable, but on its hull was a prominent emblem that looked vaguely familiar to Lin Yuan. It was a symbol of 2 snakes entwined around his staff. Is that a hospital symbol? Lin Yuan blinked in surprise. Exactly, Academician Wang said, his eyes gleaming with wisdom. In the Oracle Civilizations database, we found a similar symbol. It represents life, healing, and knowledge. In many interstellar civilizations, it's a universal emblem for medical institutions. This is a medical ship. Academician Wang looked at Lin Yuan, enunciating each word. We may have missed a treasure chest full of gold, but now we might have discovered a temple that could grant us all a medical ship. Academician Wang's voice echoed through the command center, each word crackling with electricity, striking everyone present. We might have missed a treasure chest brimming with gold, but now we may have discovered a temple that could grant us all immortality. Lin Yuan's mind buzzed. He was not a learned man, but he understood the weight of those 2 words better than anyone. Emperor Qin Shi Huang had gone to great lengths, sending Su Fu across the seas in search of this very thing, and found nothing. Now a ship that could grant immortality was appearing before him. Academician Wang, you're not joking, are you? Lin Yuan's throat felt dry as he swallowed hard, his voice trembling. Can this thing really make people immortal? Not immortal. Academician Wang waved his hands excitedly, while the biologists and medical experts beside him lunged at the holographic projection as if they wanted to press their faces against the image of the small medical ship. Theoretically, every life form has a limit to its lifespan. But Academician Wang took a deep breath, struggling to steady his voice, yet the uncontrollable tremor betrayed his ecstasy. A civilization capable of interstellar travel must have developed medical technology beyond our imagination. Cancer, AIDS, heart disease. These incurable ailments to us might be as simple as treating a cold in their eyes. A white-haired geneticist, one of the nation's foremost experts, stared fixedly at the caduceus emblem, muttering to himself, they may have even conquered the greatest challenge of aging. Through gene repair and cell regeneration, they could maintain a life form at its peak indefinitely. My God! Lin Yuan listened dumbfounded. He thought of himself. Though the state now provided for him with no worries about food or clothing, he would one day grow old and die. How wonderful would it be to stay forever at his current age of 20-something? He thought of academician Wang, Director Chun, and the old experts in the base who burned themselves out for the nation. They were national treasures. If they could live another 50 or 100 years, how much more could they contribute to the country? How far could they advance the study of those black technologies salvaged from the cosmic graveyard? The value of this small, shabby ship was immeasurably greater than that seemingly impressive super freighter. At most, that freighter was about sharpening the tools. But this medical ship was about strengthening the people. It was a divine miracle that could fundamentally elevate the very foundation of a civilization. We must have it. At any cost, we must have it. Academician Wang spun around, his bloodshot eyes fixed on Chun Weiguo, the desire in his gaze practically blazing with fire. He wasn't alone. In the command center, every elderly expert wore expressions similar to Wang's. They had devoted their lives to the pursuit of scientific truth, their greatest regret being the lack of time. And now a temple that could grant them more time lay before them. No one could resist such a temptation. For the first time, Chun Weiguo's face showed visible emotion. He understood better than anyone what mastering such technology would mean for a nation, for a people. It meant that the sharpest minds would never wither, and the most precious experience would be passed down forever. A nation's decision-making core and scientific leadership would enjoy extraordinary stability and continuity. What an immense advantage in the competition of civilizations. Calm down. Chun Weiguo barked, forcing himself and the excited crowd to steady. Don't forget the lesson just learned. That freighter looked like a treasure chest, but what was it? A deadly trap. His words were like a bucket of cold water, dousing their fiery enthusiasm. Yes, everyone calmed down. This ghost route was a place fraught with strangeness. A super treasure chest had been bait for the Void Devourer. Now this seemingly more valuable temple. Could it be another more insidious trap? Intelligence Analysis Division. Chun Weiguo immediately ordered, conduct a top-level risk assessment of this medical ship and its surrounding area right now. I want to know why it's there. Are there any clean zones like before around it? Any abnormal spatial parameter fluctuation? Yes, sir. The Intelligence Analysis Division sprang into high gear. Lin Yuan snapped out of his excitement and looked again at the medical ship. It floated silently in a relatively dense debris field surrounded by fragments of ordinary civilian. On the thermal map, it emitted only a faint, steady green light, and the surrounding areas were dotted with cold blues. Everything seemed so normal. But the more normal it appeared, the more Lin Yuan's suspicions grew. This place is a bit... Lin Yuan rubbed his chin, speaking to the command center. What's odd? Academician Wang immediately asked. Look, Lin Yuan said, maneuvering the drone to slowly orbit the periphery of the area while drawing a circle on the star map. This medical ship is in a depression. A depression? Yes. Look at the drift trajectories of these surrounding shipwrecks. They all seem guided by something skirting around this area. It's like a river with a big rock in the middle, water flowing around it. This medical ship is that rock. Though Lin Yuan knew little about advanced physics, his years of scavenging had given him an innate intuition about how things piled up and flowed. This debris field felt unnatural to him. His words immediately caught the attention of the physicists. Quote, set up a fluid dynamics model. Input all the movement trajectories of the wreckage for simulation. Minutes later, a young doctoral candidate in charge of the simulation looked up pale-faced and reported, Comrade Lin Yuan is right. There's a faint but real gravitational anomaly in this area. All the wreckage is being repelled by this anomaly, and that medical ship is sitting right at the center of the gravitational anomaly. A gravitational anomaly, repelling all matter. Everyone's heart skipped a beat. This sounded so much like the opposite of the Void Devourer. The Void Devourer devoured everything, while this repelled everything. Could this be an egg of the Void Devourer? A timid researcher stammered in speculation. This guess made everyone's hair stand on end. Impossible. Academician Wang immediately dismissed the idea. From the energy model, the Void Devourer is a pure aggregate of negative energy with a characteristic of entropy increase, devouring, and destruction. This gravitational anomaly exhibits a characteristic of entropy decrease, order, and stability. They are absolutely opposite existences. Opposite existences. Chun Weiguo narrowed his eyes. Academician Wang, do you mean this place isn't a trap, but rather the safest spot in the entire ghost route? That's possible. Academician Wang's breath quickened. The Void Devourer's traits are chaos and devouring. It absolutely cannot approach an area with a stable repulsion field. This medical ship survived so well, likely because it stumbled into this natural safe zone. This deduction, like a lightning bolt, reignited everyone's hope. If this really was a safe zone, they could not only salvage the medical ship leisurely, but even use it as a forward supply station. Comrade Lin Yuan. Chun Weiguo's voice carried a barely contained excitement. Now slowly maneuver the drone toward the edge of that gravitational anomaly. I want to verify this deduction with my own eyes. Roger. Lin Yuan's heart was in his throat. This was like experimenting with his own life. He carefully controlled the scavenger No. 2, inching it toward the medical ship. 1,000 meters. 500 meters. 100 meters. The drone smoothly passed through the outer debris field and entered that depression. The moment the drone crossed some invisible boundary, a gentle yet irresistible force acted upon it. Warning: unknown force field detected. Drone control slightly affected. It's reacting. Lin Yuan immediately reported. There's a force pushing me. Not very strong, but keep going. Academician Wang shouted. Lin Yuan increased the engine power, pushing against the force to advance toward the medical ship. It felt strange, like walking against the wind. The deeper he went, the stronger the push. When he was less than 10 kilometers from the ship, the drone's engines began to whine under strain. No good, Academician Wang. Any further, and the engines will overload. Lin Yuan reported. Good. Stop there. Now follow my orders. Academician Wang's expression turned wildly intense. Place the other arc reactor we brought onto the materialization platform. What? Lin Yuan was stunned. You mean to? Exactly. Academician Wang's eyes gleamed with a gambler's light. I want to light another firecracker. I want to see if detonating energy in this safe zone will bring that void devourer here. Professor Wang, are you crazy? The first to jump up in opposition to Professor Wang's proposal was the minister. We just confirmed the activation mechanism of the void devourer. It's high-intensity energy fluctuations. Are you really going to create another energy explosion within its safe zone? Isn't that just provoking it? What if the so-called repulsion field can't stop it, or worse, angers it? The consequences are unimaginable. I agree with the minister. The Minister of Technical Assurance also stood up, saying this is too risky. Our understanding of this repulsion field is almost zero. We have no idea how strong it is or how wide its range is. Entrusting Comrade Lin Yuan's safety to an unverified theory is akin to gambling. In the command center, the flickering hope that had just ignited was doused by a bucket of cold water called reason. Indeed, Professor Wang's idea is too bold, too insane. It's like knowing there's a tiger sleeping in a cave, yet instead of walking around it, you run to the entrance to set off firecrackers, betting that the cave's barriers are sturdy enough. What if they're not sturdy? Wouldn't that be willingly offering your head? However, Professor Wang showed no sign of retreat. His face flushed. He addressed everyone, saying, yes, I admit this is a gamble. But do we have the luxury of not gambling right now? He pointed to the highly confidential document on the screen regarding the coordinates exposed 30 years ago. The sword above our heads may fall at any moment. We don't have time to test things step by step or verify everything. We must grasp the most crucial intelligence in the shortest time possible. This repulsion field, this medical ship, is currently our greatest hope. I must know whether this safe zone is truly safe. Can it be the cornerstone for establishing our first forward base in this damned cosmic graveyard? Professor Wang's gaze swept over everyone present, his voice hoarse with excitement. Ladies and gentlemen, we are scientists, but we are also warriors. We are fighting for the survival of our entire civilization. In war, who escapes unscathed? Who avoids risks? If we hesitate and second-guess ourselves, we will end up waiting for our doom. His words silenced everyone present. Yes, they were in a war of information disparity concerning the survival of their civilization. Chen Weigua had remained silent, quietly watching the white medical ship on the screen, his fingers subconsciously tapping on the table. After a long time, he finally lifted his head, his gaze falling on Lin Yuan. Comrade Lin Yuan, what's your opinion? Once again, everyone's attention focused on the sole executor of the project. Lin Yuan felt his heart racing. Deep down, he also thought Professor Wang was too insane. Damn it, he almost didn't make it back last time, and now he wants to go all out again. However, Professor Wang's words struck him like a hammer pounding into his heart. There's no time left. Those 5 words felt like a mountain pressing down on him. He knew better than anyone that in that dark cosmic graveyard, without a nation backing him, his little wits and luck were hardly worth mentioning. What had allowed him to survive this long? It was the top scientists behind him, the massive national machine. Now this machine's chief engineer, Professor Wang, believed it was necessary to take this risk. As a mere driver, what right did he have to question it? Moreover, deep down, he was also a gambler. Fortune favored Lin Yuan took a deep breath, glancing at the resolute Professor Wang, and then at the worried Minister of Security. Finally, his gaze met Chen Weiguo's. I will follow Professor Wang's lead. Lin Yuan's voice was not loud, but extraordinarily clear. Let's do it. I trust Professor Wang's judgment. This place, since it can repel all other things, must also be able to repel the void devourer. Besides, I want to know how safe this safe zone really is. If we can truly build a safe house here, then I can also be a bit bolder in my future salvage operations, right? He forced a smile, trying to lighten the mood, but no one found it funny. Commander, give the order. Isn't it just setting off another firecracker? I wasn't even scared when I almost got blown up last time, and with this repulsion field protecting me, what do I have to fear? Lin Yuan's words acted like a calming pill, tipping the scales in the command center firmly to Professor Wang. Chen Weiguo looked at Lin Yuan, his eyes filled with complex emotions. Admiration, relief, and a hint of reluctance. He knew he had once again pushed this young man to the edge of a cliff. Good. Chen Weiguo suddenly stood up, his voice carrying a decisive determination. Let's proceed according to Professor Wang's plan. Operation Codename: Serpent Staff. Serpent Staff was the code name for the double serpent staff emblem on that medical ship, symbolizing that this operation contained immense risks and the hope for rebirth. Logistics team immediately deliver the spare arc reactor to the materialization platform. Technical assurance department set the neural signal buffer module power to maximum. All backup energy sources, connect them all. I don't care what methods you use, I need to ensure that Comrade Lin Yuan's consciousness does not sustain any further damage. Intelligence Analysis Department establish a comprehensive monitoring model centered on the medical ship. Once the Void Devourer appears, I want to know all its movements within 0.01 seconds. Medical team, have all rescue equipment on standby. A series of commands issued from Chen Weiguo's mouth. The entire base began to frantically pivot around Lin Yuan, this sole lever. On the materialization platform beside Lin Yuan, a second arc reactor, glowing with blue light, slowly emerged. He looked at the blue light sphere, feeling like a soldier about to ignite a nuclear bomb's fuse. Comrade Lin Yuan, in his ear, Chen Weiguo's final voice came through. Remember, your safety is paramount. If things go awry, don't hesitate, return immediately. We can afford to lose one arc reactor, but we can't Understood. Lin Yuan nodded heavily. He closed his eyes, casting aside all fear and hesitation, and in his heart issued that crazy command to the system. System, absorb energy. Detecting high purity energy source. Do you wish to absorb? Yes. The blue light sphere beside Lin Yuan erupted in a dazzling brilliance. Meanwhile, in the distant ghost route within that gravitational anomalous safe zone, a violent spatial ripple suddenly erupted from Scavenger No. 2, strong enough to distort space. This ripple was blocked and compressed by the invisible repulsion field, and then, like an underwater bomb being detonated, it surged violently into the dark universe beyond the safe zone. The entire wreckage of the ghost route trembled violently due to this raging energy shock. In the command center, everyone stared intently at the danger warning system. At that moment, time seemed to freeze. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. The warning system remained silent. No response. A researcher stammered. Impossible. Such a massive energy fluctuation is at least 10 times more intense than last time. The Void Devourer can't possibly be unresponsive. Professor Wang stared at the screen, sweat beads covering his forehead. Just as he finished speaking, beep, 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 beep. A warning alarm, sharper and more urgent than any before, suddenly reverberated throughout the command center. Alert. Discovering ultra-high intensity spatial distortion. Not 1, but 3, 5. Oh my God. 10. The voice of the intelligence analysis minister trembled with extreme fear. On the massive screen in the command center, the thermal map represented black vortices depicting the Void Devourer springing up like mushrooms after rain from every direction of the ghost route. A total of 10 black, giant mouths exuding the breath of death and doom, all simultaneously awakened by this enormous firecracker. Then they all rushed madly toward the energy explosion's epicenter, the safe zone where Lin Yuan was located. It's over. Someone in the command center collapsed to the ground in despair. They had poked the hornet's nest. Return, Lin Yuan. Return immediately. In the command center, Chen Weiguo's roar cracked slightly due to intense emotions. On the screen, the 10 black vortices encroaching from all directions resembled a tightening net of death, sending chills down the spines of everyone witnessing this terrifying scene. None of them expected that a mere probe would escalate into such a grand spectacle. 10 Void Devourers. This was not just poking a hornet's nest, it was akin to being thrown right into it. No, wait. Just as Lin Yuan was about to comply with the order and issue the return command, the hoarse, yet resolutely determined voice of Academician Wang halted him. Don't move. Lin Yuan, stay where you are. Don't move. Academician Wang. Chen Weiguo abruptly turned to look at him, his eyes bloodshot. Do you know what you are saying? I know. Academician Wang fixed his gaze on the screen, his eyes devoid of fear, filled only with an almost frenzied thirst for knowledge. Look. Quick. Look at the trajectories of those Void Devourers. Upon hearing this, everyone immediately shifted their attention to the holographic star map. They observed that the 10 black vortices, as they rapidly approached the edge of the safe zone, all exhibited a noticeable deceleration. It was as if they had crashed into an invisible, soft yet resilient wall, violently colliding, twisting, and deforming, yet unable to advance even a fraction further. The invisible barrier formed by the repulsion field resembled a divine boundary, firmly keeping all chaos and destruction at bay. At the junction of the black vortices and the invisible barrier, the space was torn apart, creating countless brilliant, yet deadly fissures, where violent energy collided, and annihilated, manifesting a scene as magnificent as the birth of a star. Yet none of this could shake the small safe zone. It blocked them. Oh my, it really blocked them. That repulsion field can indeed restrain the void devourers. In the command center, after a brief moment of stunned silence, a cheer erupted louder than any before, a cry of survival. Everyone excitedly embraced one another, laughing and crying. Safe. They had found it. The only sanctuary in this cosmic graveyard that could grant them a place to exist. Lin Yuan was also left dumbfounded. Controlling scavenger no. 2. He hovered at the center of the safe zone, viewing the horrific scene outside, as if it were the apocalypse, feeling as if he were sitting behind bulletproof glass, watching a group of sharks crashing into the walls. Exciting. It was so thrilling. I can't believe it. He stammered as he reported to the command center, Academician Wang Yu. You are truly brilliant. This place is really safe. I knew it. Academician Wang looked at the screen, tears of joy streaming down his face. Entropy increase and decrease. Chaos and order. The universe is always in balance. Where there is poison, there must be antidote within 7 steps. We found it. Chun Weiguo's body trembled slightly with excitement as he firmly patted Academician Wang's shoulder, then picked up the communicator, speaking in an unprecedented tone, filled with pride. Comrade Lin Yuan, you are now in the safest place in the entire cosmic graveyard. Now put aside all concerns and start your work. That medical ship, the temple that can determine the future of our civilization, is waiting for you. Understood. Lin Yuan felt a surge of indescribable pride. He glanced at the void devourers still futilely crashing against the walls, and the last shred of fear in his heart dissipated. With such a super safe house present, what was there to be afraid of? He turned the drone, utilizing the gentle thrust, and flew straight toward the white medical ship. This time he no longer hesitated, turning the engine power to full throttle, swiftly reaching the side of the medical. Upon closer inspection, the ship was even larger than he had imagined. It was entirely constructed from a milky white material resembling ceramic, with a surface as smooth as a mirror, showing no signs of seams, as if it were naturally formed. On the ship's body, the symbol of the double serpent staff radiated a gentle green light, imparting a sense of tranquility and reassurance. There were a few damages on the hull, but they were minor, appearing as if caused by high-speed debris. Lin Yuan chose an opening about 3 meters in diameter located in the middle of the ship's body, carefully squeezing inside. The moment he entered the ship, Lin Yuan felt as if he had stepped into another world. Outside was a chaotic, dark, and silent cosmic wasteland. Inside, however, was a spacious, bright, and impeccably clean white corridor. The walls, ceiling, and floor of the corridor were made from the same material that emitted a soft white light, illuminating the entire space as bright as day. In the air, there were no strange odors, only a faint, pleasant scent reminiscent of disinfectant. Everything was too clean, too quiet. The silence was unnervingly eerie. Damn. This place is cleaner than our base's operating room, Lin Yuan complained to himself. How severe is this alien's obsession with cleanliness? Lin Yuan, be careful. Li Na's voice came through the headset. She was now one of Lin Yuan's dedicated liaisons. The environment here is too abnormal. A ship that had been wrecked for tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of years, could not possibly remain this intact. I also feel something is off. As Lin Yuan replied, he maneuvered the drone, slowly advancing down the corridor. On either side of the corridor were tightly closed white metal doors. On the doors were alien characters he could not comprehend. Academician Wang, what do these characters mean? Hold on, we are currently cross-referencing translations using the Oracle Civilization database. Got it. The voice of Academician Wang came through. The left door is labeled Rest Cabin No. 1, and the right is Nutrient Distribution Center. Move forward, Lin Yuan. According to the ship's structural diagram, the main medical area should be in the core of the ship. Lin Yuan nodded and continued forward. He passed a huge area that resembled a dining hall. The tables and chairs were still neatly arranged, and there were even some metal objects resembling plates on the tables. Everything looked as if the crew had just temporarily left and would return shortly. But where were the people? Where did all the people on this ship go? The strange feeling in Lin Yuan's heart grew stronger. He would rather see a battered warship filled with corpses than remain in such an overly clean ghost ship. He controlled the drone, activating the scanning function to scan everything around him. Scanning. Target: Tree of Life, class medical ship, standard alloy plate, energy response, none, structural strength, extremely low, analysis, composed of basic titanium nickel alloy, no special value. He scanned the walls again. Scanning. Target: Tree of Life, class medical ship, self-cleaning, biological coating wall, energy response, extremely low, structural strength, moderate analysis. This coating can continuously decompose organic pollutants, maintaining a sterile environment. Self-cleaning coating. No wonder it's so clean. Lin Yuan realized. If this technology could be brought back, how many housewives could be liberated? No, it could be used in so many advanced sterile laboratories. He continued forward, passing through several corridors, and finally, at the very center of the ship, he saw a completely different place. It was a vast circular hall, and in the center of the hall was an enormous circular gate, made of some Above the gate, in striking green letters, was a prominent inscription. It's been translated. Academician Wang's voice trembled slightly. It says, Central Gene Sanctuary. Gene Sanctuary. Yes, this is it. The most critical place on this ship. Lin Yuan maneuvered the drone slowly, approaching the massive crystal gate. Through the gate, he could vaguely see an even larger space where countless translucent objects glowing in various colors like jellyfish floated. An indescribable life-filled energy seeped from behind the gate, making Lin Yuan feel as if his soul were warmed and profoundly comfortable. This is it. The treasures must be inside. Lin Yuan became excited. He began searching for the mechanism to open the door. This gate had no physical switches or handles. It was as smooth as a single piece of crystal. Technical department, have you found anything? Report. We discovered an energy interface and a recessed slot resembling a handprint next to the gate. We suspect that it requires a specific energy key and genetic permission to open. A handprint. That's a problem. My mechanical claw can't possibly qualify as a hand, can it? Lin Yuan felt a bit disappointed. Don't worry, said the technical department personnel. We are analyzing its energy interface protocol. Perhaps we can try to trick it open. Just as the technical department was nervously attempting to crack it, Lin Yuan suddenly felt the warm, drowsy life energy around him seemed to change. A faint yet extremely cold energy infused with silence and decay unexpectedly emerged from somewhere, mixing in with that life energy. Lin Yuan's heart stirred, and he immediately became alert. He maneuvered the drone, quickly turning around and aiming the scanner at the empty, silent white corridor he had come from. Wide area scan. Activate. The thermal map instantly covered his field of vision. The corridor was, however, at the end of the corridor around the corner, a faint, almost blending into the background green light point, representing a biological entity, silently appeared. What is that? Lin Yuan's heart suddenly leaped, a chill racing up his spine. He immediately reported this discovery to the command center, reporting a biological reaction detected at the end of the corridor. A green light point moving toward me. Biological reaction. The command center, which had just been ecstatic over the gene sanctuary, instantly froze. The smile on Academician Wang's face stiffened. He pushed aside several biologists who were still excitedly discussing, leaned in front of the main screen, and stared intently at the thermal map shared back by Lin Yuan. On the map, that faint green light point did indeed exist. It was like a firefly in the pitch-black night, dim yet impossible to ignore. Moreover, it was drifting at a constant, unhurried speed along the center line of the corridor, straight toward the position of the drone designated as Scavenger 2. Is it a survivor? A young researcher asked subconsciously. Impossible. The head of the security department immediately dismissed the idea, his face turning extremely grim. A ship that has been wrecked for who knows how many tens of thousands of years. How could there still be living people? And look at its movement. Too stable. Stable as if it were a program. His words made everyone think of a far more terrifying possibility. Not a living person. It was something else. Lin Yuan. Fall back immediately. Stay away from that thing. Observe first. Chen Weiguo's calm, yet commanding order came through the earpiece. Roger. Without a second word, Lin Yuan maneuvered the drone to silently retreat backward, preparing to hide inside the room labeled Nutrient Distribution Center. Damn it, there really is something wrong with this ship. He cursed inwardly. That life aura, so soothing it made one want to sleep, now recalled, felt like the soul-summoning incense burned in graves. Pleasant to smell, but deadly. And that mixed-in cold and decaying aura was undoubtedly brought by this approaching green light point. Its energy reaction is very weak. Why didn't the previous wide area scans detect it? The head of the technical support department asked, frowning, raising a key question. Perhaps it had been in a dormant state all along. Academician Wang speculated. The energy fluctuations from our attempt to crack the gene sanctuary door not only startled the void devourers outside, but also awakened it from its slumber. This speculation turned the faces of several experts responsible for the hacking in the technical department pale. After all their trouble, they had nearly lured in the father from outside and summoned the ghost from within the house. Enough with the speculation. Chen Weiguo interrupted their discussion. Lin Yuan, what's the situation? Can you make out what it is? Can't see clearly yet, Chief. Lin Yuan had already hidden the drone behind the door of the Nutrient Distribution Center, leaving only a tiny detector lens exposed, peeping at the corridor outside like a paparazzo. It's still around the corner, but it's about to come out. In the entire command center, everyone held their breath. Time at this moment felt unbearably long. 1 second, 2 seconds. That green light point on the thermal map finally drifted out from the corner of the corridor, slowly and ethereally, without a trace of worldly concern. Lin Yuan also carefully aimed the drone's optical lens in that direction. The next second, the high-definition image transmitted through the drone's lens made Lin Yuan and everyone in the command center instantly widen their eyes, an indescribable chill rising from the depths of their hearts. It was not any creature they had imagined. Not a ferocious monster, nor a bizarre alien. It was a sphere floating in midair made entirely of milky white material with an extremely simple design. Its diameter was about 1 meter, its surface smooth as a giant pearl. It had no visible thrusters or nozzles on its body, floating silently, defying the laws of physics, advancing slowly. If that were all, it would be nothing more than a uniquely shaped robot. But what truly sent chills down their spines was its mode of operation. Directly beneath it on the pristine white floor was a small, fingernail-sized, dark brown stain. It looked like the trace of some long-dried liquid. When the white sphere floated precisely over that stain, it stopped. Then from its bottom, several extremely fine cobweb-like white tendrils extended. These tendrils gently, softly covered the stain. No sound, no light effects. That stubborn stain, which had existed for who knows how many tens of thousands of years, began to fade, decompose, and finally vanish completely before everyone's eyes, as if it had never existed. Having done this, the white sphere retracted its tendrils and began drifting slowly again along the corridor's centerline. The entire process was fluid and eerily silent. What the hell? Lin Yuan finally squeezed out those two words from his throat. He finally understood why the ship was so clean, and he finally understood where all the crew members had gone. This was no survivor, this was a fanatical cleaner. A mobile incinerator that would thoroughly clean any stain, including people and corpses. Analysis complete. In the command center, an expert responsible for biological signal analysis reported with a trembling voice. Its green biological reaction is not because it itself is biological. It's because of the stain it just decomposed. That stain is a high molecular polymer containing organic compounds, in other words, dried blood. Its scanning system identified that blood stain as a contaminant, so it executed the cleaning procedure. And as for itself, the expert swallowed hard and said with difficulty, it is a purely mechanical construct, a nanobot swarm whose working principles we cannot comprehend. A swarm of nanobots. Academician Wang repeated the words, his eyes filled with shock and fascination. So that's it. I should have realized it earlier. Only nanoscale robots could achieve such a thorough trace-free decomposition, and only nanobots could form this liquid metal-like structure that can freely deform and extend tentacles. A wave of commotion swept through the other scientists in the command center. Self-cleaning coated walls plus fully automated nano-cleaning robots. The Tree of Life civilization's mastery of automation and materials science is simply beyond belief. This is no longer mere cleanliness. It's a pathological obsession with purity and order ingrained into their very being. But that doesn't add up. The security chief immediately pointed out the crux of the issue, his expression still grim. If it's just a cleaning robot, why would it decompose bloodstains? Isn't it normal to have bloodstains on a medical ship? Did it clean the wounded as well? This question brought the scientists who had been exhilarated by the glimpse of black technology back to a sobering reality. Indeed, it was too anomalous. Its program might have malfunctioned, a computer expert speculated. Or rather, its program was executed too thoroughly. What do you mean? Chen Weigui asked. I've studied the ship's structure and the texts we've translated so far, the expert said. He pulled up several documents and displayed them on the screen. This Tree of Life-class medical ship's highest directive is to maintain absolute sterility and environmental stability within the hull, providing the purest preservation environment for the gene sanctuary. After the ship crashed and all crew members either perished or entered the gene sanctuary, the ship's central AI likely entered an automatic graveyard mode. In this mode, any organic matter, anything that could breed bacteria or disrupt the pure environment, would be classified as contaminants. So it cleans not just dust and trash. The expert's voice carried a chill. It also cleans corpses' bloodstains and even any living being that metabolizes and generates pollution. Damn. In the cockpit, Lin Yuan felt a chill run down his spine. He watched the slow white orb drift past, no longer seeing a cleaning robot, but a Reaper cloaked in white. A Reaper devoid of emotion, relentlessly executing the clean command. Then, why didn't it detect me? Lin Yuan couldn't help but ask. His drone was a hunk of metal, hardly an organic contaminant, right? Because your drone is inorganic and in a static state. In its judgment system, you're no different from a rock or a door. The computer expert explained. However, if you engage in high-speed movement or generate intense energy fluctuations, it might classify you as an unstable, anomalous unit, triggering another kind of formatting protocol. Formatting. Lin Yuan's throat felt dry. He had no doubt that if his battered drone got tangled in those white tentacles, its fate would be no better than that bloodstain. Lin Yuan, stay put and don't move. Chen Weiguo's voice came through, carrying an unyielding calm. Wait for it to pass. Intelligence Analysis Division immediately calculate its patrol route and cycle. Roger. Lin Yuan didn't dare move a muscle, watching helplessly as the white orb drifted slowly and silently past the door where he was hiding, disappearing at the other end of the corridor. Only when the green dot on the thermal map had completely vanished did Lin Yuan let out a long breath. Damn, that scared me to death. This is more terrifying than encountering a void devourer. That thing just swallows you whole, quick and clean. This treats you like garbage, decomposing you bit by bit. Just thinking about it is unbearable. He ranted wildly in his mind. Report. The patrol route has been preliminarily calculated. The head of the Intelligence Analysis Division spoke up. It's conducting periodic patrols of the ship's CG layer. Based on its speed, it will return to this corridor in front of the Gene Sanctuary in about 45 minutes. 45 minutes. Chen Weigua and Academician Wang exchanged a glance. The time was neither too long. Technical Division. Chen Weigua immediately ordered. How long to crack the Gene Sanctuary's door? Reporting Director. The Technical Division head replied instantly, his voice brimming with excitement. We've already got a lead. That door has a gene lock, but its energy interface seems to use a universal protocol. We intercepted a brief communication signal between it and the ship's central AI, and its firewall level isn't high. Get to the point. Chen Weigua cut him off. The point is, we have over 80 confidence that we can trick the door open within 10 minutes by simulating the central AI's maintenance commands. The Technical Division head said excitedly. 10 minutes. Everyone's eyes lit up. 10 minutes was plenty of. They could enter the Gene Sanctuary and retrieve what they needed before that terrifying cleaner returned. Excellent. Chen Weigua made a decisive call. Comrade Lin Yuan. Here. Lin Yuan immediately perked up. Now return to the Gene Sanctuary entrance immediately. The Technical Division will guide you through the cracking operation. Remember, we only have one chance. Understood. Lin Yuan's heart was in his throat once more. He carefully maneuvered the scavenger node. 2 out of the nutrient distribution center confirmed the white orb was far away, then accelerated, charging toward the massive crystal gate. Time was life. When the drone stopped again at the Gene Sanctuary entrance, the Technical Division's urgent voice crackled in Lin Yuan's earpiece. Comrade Lin Yuan. See the glowing interface at the lower right of the gate? Yes, that one. Use your mechanical arm to open the protective cover. Lin Yuan complied immediately. The drone's mechanical arm precisely pried open the small cover, revealing a complex multi-pin interface inside. Good. Now connect the multifunctional data probe at the end of your mechanical arm. Connection successful. Hold steady. We're starting to inject the simulated signal now. Prepare energy output. In the command center, everyone stood tensely staring at the fluctuating data streams on the screen. Meanwhile, Lin Yuan nervously watched the direction where the cleaning robot had disappeared on the thermal map. Don't screw up, don't come back early. He silently prayed. Signal injection initiated. Energy frequency matching. 23. 47. Firewall protocol analysis in progress. Bypassing first layer. Second layer. Time ticked by. The command center was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. 91. We're almost there. The Technical Division head shouted excitedly. But then a sudden change occurred. Beep, beep, beep. An alarm not loud, but enough to make everyone's heart skip a beat came from another monitoring device. Report. Abnormal fluctuations in the central AI communication signal. Our cracking attempt seems to have triggered some kind of low-level alarm. What? Chen Weiguo's expression shifted. Before he could issue new orders, Li Na's terrified scream rang through Lin Yuan's earpiece. Lin Yuan, look at the thermal map. That thing has stopped. Lin Yuan instantly shifted his view to the thermal map. There 2 corridors away from him, the green that representing the cleaning robot had indeed ceased moving. Then it changed direction. It charged straight toward the Gene Sanctuary entrance, where Lin Yuan was at least twice its previous speed.